Our radio commentary is from the National League. It is Gateshead who entertain Dorking Wanderers, the Surrey side, making the 300 miles trip. Bernard Chizzy, our man, at the Gateshead Stadium. A very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim, and wherever you're listening to us this afternoon, a very warm welcome to the Northeast. And just like at every ground across the country, you've heard the last post. There was a minute's applause following that as well. The guard of honour, the laying of the poppy wreaths inside the centre circle as well. Such an emotional time of year, of course, for many, many people. But as far as today's game is concerned in this National League clash, Dorking Wanderers making another long trip up towards the northeast. And just spare a thought for those Dorking fans who may well have come all the way from Surrey for this fixture. 300 miles, no less, is the journey one way. But as for the players themselves, they were, let's say, a little fortunate enough just to have a little training session at the home of the FA at St George's Park near Burton yesterday. So I'm going to give you the lineups very, very soon, as an awful clearance from Gator, but they do get away with it, and they come forward now with Wen, who's caught offside down this left-hand side halfway inside the Wanderers half. So Dorking are lining up with a familiar 3-5-2 formation, although there may well be subtle changes during the course of the game. So Harrison Mayle, who at one time used to play here up at Gateshead, is in goal, with a back three of George Frankham, Joe Cook and Dan Gallagher. So no Barry Fuller, he's out through suspension. Ahead of them, Dan Pybus in a deep midfield line position, with Jimmy Mewett, Josh Taylor, Luke Moore also returning to the side following suspension, and Niall McManus. That makes up the midfield. James McShane is playing in the number 10, with Harry Ottaway keeping his place in the side up front. Now it's the away side with Frankham coming forward. Dorking Wanderers all in orange today. It's Frankham's first time ball down the line, quickly mopped up by Gateshead, but Pybus with a couple of touches retrieves possession for the away side before Frankham gets the ball all the way back to Harrison Mayle, all in lilac purple. The away side come forward, small amount of space for them to come forward through Josh Taylor, reducing him to go a little heavy in on one of the Gateshead players. And that's going to be a free kick for the away side. So this is an opportune moment for me just to go through the Gateshead lineup again, with what looks to be a similar formation with a 3-5-2. Archie May, the former Norwich City goalkeeper. Between the sticks, Kenton Richardson, Joe Grayson. A recent signing for them in the heart of defence alongside Louis Story. And then across the middle, Ryan Booty, Greg Ollie, Callum Whelan, Ed Francis and Stephen Wayne. Up front, Connor McBride and Billy Chadwick. And also had an early chance to come in from Gateshead. That doesn't really amount to anything. It was more of a hooked effort from Conor McBride, but it took one bounce and Mayle was unchallenged and gathers the ball. So it's a lovely afternoon here in the northeast, although now that the days are getting shorter, possibly by the time we get halfway through the second half, we may well be pitched in darkness. A lovely side set from Frankham, gets away from one, edging towards the halfway line. As Mewett decides just to play safe and finds Gallagher, who was unfortunate enough to score an own goal in that 3-1 defeat against Dagenham and Redbridge last weekend. But they come forward now through Josh Taylor, but the pass is overhit, far too strong for the run of Harry Ottaway, and that will go out for a goal kick to the home side. So you're listening to Saturday Sport with me, Bernard Chizzy, on BBC Surrey and Sussex, and we'll be just checking in on the other local sides throughout the afternoon, just to see how they're getting on. As Archie Mayer launches an angled cross down the far side. And Gateshead collect now in that black and white strip. The move just breaks down, and Pybus is there, but he's lost possession. Good recovery though from Taylor on the far side, and that's going to be a throw for Gateshead, almost on the halfway line. Such a huge ground this is, and sometimes that can lose some of the atmosphere, but when the crowd get going, they can certainly make plenty of noise. So in the early stages of this game, little to report so far. 0-0 between Gateshead and Dorking Wanderers, and when the sides last met in April, they played that goalless draw. Wasn't a great spectacle by any means. It was a game that Gateshead certainly dominated, but the result certainly suited both at the end, with a point that was all that both of them needed. So it's 0-0 here, but we can certainly tell you about a goal at Eastbourne Borough.
Yes, we
Kevin
can.
Anderson.
Yes, we can indeed. It's 1-0 to the Borough. Second minute goal, a looping header from Billy Vigor from a right wing cross by Dukari Sheriff. The perfect start for Eastbourne Borough on this special day of days for the club. 1-0 to the Borough.
Many thanks, Kevin. So a brilliant start for Eastbourne Borough, leading 1-0, and they can certainly do with a win this afternoon. What about Dorking? What can they do? They've been so good on the road lately. Certainly in September when they had that purple patch. Not conceding a single goal in 4, taking 10 points from 12. As Pybus just shifts the ball to the left. And Dorking coming forward, rather quiet at the moment, as Taylor feeds the ball onto this right-hand side with Mowat, steps inside, comes in the box, shaping run, shoots, takes a deflection, loops up into the air, and it's going to go out for a corner, but Mowat just cutting in from the right-hand side. He was allowed to just step into the box, cutting away from a couple of challenges, then unleashed the shot with his left foot, and it loops up into the air and goes wide for a corner. So the first meaningful chance of note in this game so far, just coming up to 7 minutes. As Franken swings the ball in, and a half chance for Dorking on that occasion, with Josh Taylor just stretching out his leg, but the ball just spoons over the bar. But Dorking have made a positive start in the North East, still 0-0. And certainly Gateshead have seen some upheaval recently with the loss of their manager, Mike Williamson, highly regarded coach, spent the last 4 years here, now joining League 2 MK Dons. McBride almost winning the ball, picked up by Ollie about 20 yards out, down the inside right come Gateshead. Looking for their first chance. McBride with a shot, seemed to just skim off his right foot, and it goes straight out for a goal kick. So it's still goalless in this game between Gateshead and Dorking. Okay, so let's go around the ground, shall we? Catching up on Crawley Town against Accrington Stanley. Gary Smith.
Yeah, there's been a goal here as well, Bernard. It's gone the way of the visitors. It came within the first 2 minutes. Quick throw taken over on the far side. They got it into the feet of Nolan. He was allowed far too much space to skip into the Crawley area, get it onto his left foot and drill a shot between the legs of Luca Ashby-Hammond and into the back of the net. Crawley 0, Accrington 1, 6.5 minutes on the clock.
And what about Aldershot then? Let's hope they've had a better start. Rob Worrell, what can you tell us?
I can tell you that it's 0-0 after 8 minutes, Bernard, but the shots are coming down the right-hand side now. In fact, the cross has been blocked. They did have one very clear-cut chance on 5 minutes. Josh Stokes sending Jack Barham, who else, through on goal. And one-on-one with Christian Dibble. Dibble came out on top, saving with his foot as Jack Barham tried to slot it low past him. So we're approaching 9 minutes now, and it remains here at the EBB. Aldershot Town 0, Kidderminster 0.
Okay, and then just finally with our early roundup so far, Woking not having a great run at the moment. How have they started so far at Oxford City? Bryn Lucas, what can you say?
Yeah, I tell you what, they've actually started pretty well. They've been the more positive of the two sides. Denan Lewis had a shot from the edge of the area, just flashed wide of the goal. They've got Jack Bycroft in Oxford City, signed him just recently, in fact. He's a very good goalkeeper from Southampton, the 22-year-old. So they've got a new keeper in Oxford City. They don't really want to test him too much early on, but Woking certainly do. So I'd say at this stage, what are we, 6, 7, 8 minutes into this game now, in fact. Woking in the ascendancy, but it is still 0-0.
Okay, so we've already seen a couple of early goals. Accrington Stanley have taken an early lead at Crawley and Eastbourne Borough. 1 up against Braintree Town. But let's go straight back to Gareth Smith at Broadfield. We've got a goal at Crawley again.
Yeah, indeed we have, Bernard. Crawley are back on level terms. It came after 7 minutes, and it was Danilo Orsi. 2 goals at Notts County in the Cup last week, and he's a man on fire at the moment. Played in by Claudio Lolos, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Took a brilliant first touch, and then stroked it beyond McCracken for his 7th goal of the season, and Crawley back on level terms. We played 8.5 minutes, Bernard. Crawley 1, Accrington Stanley 1.
Great response from Crawley Town then, so they're level with Accrington Stanley. Still goalless here at the Gateshead International Stadium. Archie Mayer, the Gateshead goalkeeper. And one discernible feature about him is that he loves to bring the ball well outside the box, but his distribution at times isn't the greatest, and it hasn't been great so far today, as Dorking just win a free kick just inside the Gateshead half. Quite a slow start to this game so far, although Jimmy Mewitt's run that could have resulted with something promising for Dorking. Running inside the box, his shot just looped up and went out for a corner. But we've got a free kick for Dorking onto this near side. It's above the head of Harry Ottaway, and it's going to go straight out for a goal kick. And Harry Ottaway scored that stunning equaliser last weekend against Dagenham, and Redbridge firing in that fierce strike that came in off the crossbar. And Mark White has decided to keep him in the starting lineup today, ahead of Jason Pryor, who's on the bench. As McBride runs into trouble. Early cross comes in from now McManus. Swings away though from McShane on the far side, so it's going to be a throw for Gateshead. Deep inside their own half, playing from right to left in the first half. As Francis comes short, and so does Ollie, as the ball is just looped down the line. As Chadwick tries to pick up the loose ball near the halfway line, but he does win a throw for Gateshead, looking to get back onto winning ways. The home form not the greatest, failing to score in the last 2. As Dan Gallagher just busily defending down the left-hand side of the defence, throwing for the away side, looking relatively comfortable so far, yet to be troubled, pretty composed, and they'll just be looking to rekindle that kind of form that they had during September when they were so incredibly hard to beat. As Mayle is just going to pick up the ball, but the referee has actually just seen something. Not actually received a team sheet before kick-off, but I have written down the names of both teams. So it's not certainly ideal from my perspective, but We'll certainly do our best to bring you all the action as it comes to you on BBC Surrey and BBC Sussex on Saturday Sport. Firm header from Pybus, bounces a couple of times onto this near side. It's controlled by Ottaway, spins and brings it back to Mewett, and Frankham is the last man back for Dorking Wanderers. Back towards Mail, switching play out towards the right hand side with McManus, and Dorking like to play the ball from the back, and they're doing it again here, although they were stung a couple of times against Dagenham and Redbridge last weekend, but looking quite calm and composed. Back with Mail, and again they come forward with Josh Taylor with the square pass, a really poor one though, given away. As now Chadwick comes forward, finds Ollie with the reverse pass down the right hand side. Come Gateshead, the ball is swung in, chested down by Mewett. Almost a mix up between a couple of Dorking players, but Gallagher is at the back just to calm things down and clears up towards the halfway line. They give away possession cheaply once again though, do Dorking Wanderers. And Gateshead just inside their own half with Louis Story. Back towards McBride, coming short inside the centre circle. Now with Louis Story once again, now appointed assistant manager following the departure of Mike Williamson and his assistant. But good pressing that time from Harry Ottaway inside the centre circle, just forcing Gateshead to go back. And with Louis Story once again building for Gateshead, just on the edge of his own 18-yard line, back with Archie Mayer, all in a kind of rose-coloured strip. Again, just taking his time with matching pink gloves, and plays it right down the middle, controlled by McBride, but stepping across that time was Gallagher. And Woking, we believe there is a goal in that game between Oxford City and Woking. Bryn Lucas.
Yeah, there is, and it really did go against the run of play. It was almost an innocuous pass back. Taylor chasing the ball. He played it back to Will Yaskalainen, who took a touch. Two Oxford City players ran at him. His touch was heavy. He then went to clear. It got charged down. The ball ended up at another Oxford City player's feet. So it got past to Zach McEachran, and he took one little touch, then turned, dropped his shoulder, and blasted the shot in. It did come off a Woking head, but it'll go down as a Zach McEachran goal against the run of play. 14 minutes into this one, and it is Oxford City 1, Woking 0.
So Woking and their troubles continue, heaping even more pressure on manager Darren Sala, trailing 1-0 out struggling Oxford City at the wrong end of the table. Meanwhile here, still no goals between Gateshead and Dorking. I'm just coming up to about 18 minutes gone in this one. Game a few chances, the other one falling for Dorking. Jimmy Mewett, his deflected shot going over the bar as Archie Mayer, as he does almost on every occasion, comes at least 10 yards outside his box and clears. McBride just almost running full circle on the edge of the box, threads the ball in towards Ollie in a tight position. The ball is angled back, McBride shoots and he stabs the ball beyond Harrison Mayle to give Gateshead the lead. They didn't pick up the run of McBride, and he ran unimpeded to stab the ball beyond the dive of Harrison Mayle. And we talked about how impregnable Dorking Wanderers have been on the road, certainly in September, but last week they gave away 2 cheap goals, and Mark White will once again be very disappointed with the way they have lost that opening goal today. Gateshead lead Dorking Wanderers by 1-0, and it's McBride, the For the Wraith Rovers player, scoring. Right-footed, poking the ball beyond Harrison Mayle. In fact, it's been given to Billy Chadwick. It's been announced on the public address system. So Chadwick, the goal scorer, in fact, one of 3 changes for Gateshead today. And that's certainly going to ease their nerves off the back of two very poor performances at home against Altrincham, first of all, which they lost 2-0, and AFC Fylde, which was a real thumping, 4-0. They lost that one in Rob Elliott's first game in charge as interim boss. So still relatively light here, a glorious autumnal afternoon, but the light is certainly fading fast. So let's go around the grounds again, shall we? So the last we heard, Crawley and Accrington Stanley, that was one apiece. Gary, any change?
No change in the scoreline at all, Bernard. Crawley just on the attack here again. Gordon breaking towards the edge of the box. In it goes to Lolos, tries the shot and it just goes wide of the post. But it's a very, very even game. Both sides very, very good attacking and looking a bit frail defensively. Accrington ahead after 2 minutes. Crawley back on level terms after 7 minutes. And that's where we currently stand with 18 minutes on the clock. It's Crawley 1, Accrington Stanley 1.
So no change there. It was goalless, the last we heard, between Aldershot Town and Kidderminster Harriers. Rob Worrell, any change to that score?
Our radio listeners now. No change to the scoreline, but a couple more chances for Aldershot Town, and Josh Stokes, the precocious young teenage talent involved in both of them. He had a shot saved at the near post by Dibble. That one, to be fair, always looked a tough ask, but after that he ghosted onto a 3-ball and controlled it nicely before shooting just wide. That was in the 11th minute. We've had 20 now, and it remains Aldershot Town 0, Kidderminster Harriers 0.
So we recently heard that Woking have gone 1-0 behind at Oxford City. What about Eastbourne Borough? They had a great start, leading 1-0 against Braintree Town. Kevin Anderson, what's the latest there?
It's 1-1 here, and it's quite an open, active game, but Borough did have that second-minute lead through Billy Vigor, but Braintree play incredibly quick and direct, and sometimes they've been over-hitting their through balls, but on 20 minutes they pounced when Borough tried to play their way out from the back. Always dangerous, and they gave the ball away to Braintree, who raced at them through the D, and Tom Blackwell made it 1-1. I don't think we've seen the end of the scoring yet, though, guys.
Many thanks, Kevin. So one apiece there. Still no change here, with Gateshead leading Dorking Wanderers by 1-0. Billy Chadwick, the goal scorer, as Dorking come forward, still inside their own half though, through Josh Taylor. Tries to spot the run of Frankham down this right hand side, finds Moore instead stepping inside. He has Frankham as an option. First time cross above the head of Ottaway, stood near the penalty spot as Luke Moore wins it back. Joe Cook is the furthest back for Dorking Wanderers and just picks up the return ball from Harrison Mayle. Just the far side of the pitch now in sunlight. And even though it has been a lovely day, I think it's going to get noticeably cooler during the course of this game. The Dorking Wanderers again with the three at the back. Cook. The short pass towards Gallagher. Hare bobbing away. Comes towards the centre circle. Exchanging passes with Frankham. McManus closed down quickly by Ollie on the halfway line, but Cook can come forward unchallenged. Then plays it wide. As McShane just misses out, and Gateshead pick up the loose pieces again through the centre circle with Chadwick poking the ball through the legs of a Dorking player. And now they break again with the goal scorer Chadwick down the right-hand side, the ball inside the area. Could be a chance here for Gateshead to add their second of the afternoon. And it could well have been with Regan Booty peeling away. But his shot just goes beyond Mayle's inside post. So Gateshead 1, Dorking Wanderers 0 on Saturday Sport, bringing you all the latest action affecting our local teams. And Dorking coming forward again. They've seen plenty of the ball, but they haven't really shown much threat up front. And Harry Ottaway has been very quiet, hasn't seen the ball much of at all so far in this game. Dorking quite content just to take their time as once again they approach the halfway line. The ball from McShane over the top, but can Mewett keep it in? He can, but it dribbles straight into the arms of Archie Mayer. It is near post. So Dorking, of course, in their second season in the National League, 6 wins so far this season. As Ollie picks up again. Could be more trouble here for Dorking, as Chadwick could have been in, but the pass from Ollie was really heavy, keeps the ball in play. I'll just get an update from Working's game at Oxford City very shortly, as we just wait now for Gateshead that cuts it through! The Dorking defence once again, and Warren this time, or Wern I should say, Stephen Wern. Dorking could not pick up his run, and from 7 yards out, Dorking find themselves 2-0 down with Stephen Wern grabbing the second goal for the home side. So let's grab an update then on Woking. So the last we heard, they were losing 1-0 at Oxford City. Bryn Lucas, bring us up to date.
Yeah, well, they're still trailing 1-0 to Oxford City. They have had the ball in the back of the net, though, Woking. The ball was put across. Ammond put it across, and Reece Brown tucked it into the back of the net, but the flag went up straight away on the far side. I have seen a replay on a computer screen in front of me, I have to say, and I'm not convinced it was offside, but there's no benefit of VAR here, so it still remains Oxford City 1, Woking 0, and we're into the 25th minute.
Okay, many thanks for that. So, really poor start from Dorking. Trailing 2-0. Goals from Chadwick and Wern. And defensively, certainly the second, the way Wern just managed just to run into the box, totally unmarked, between two defenders, with only Mayle to beat about 7 yards out. They need a quick response. Can they find one? Great tracking back from Booty, just blocking Ottaway's path. But it's Pybus, feeds the ball out wide towards the left-hand side, picked up by Moore. Back in field towards Pybus as the Gateshead defence just back off. Plenty of men forward for Dorking on this occasion. McManus running towards the byline, tries to get the cross in, but Karen Lofthouse just does enough, and it's going to be a goal kick for Gateshead. Karen Lofthouse, the former Woking player, of course, made more than 100 appearances for the Cards, and he's on loan up at Gateshead until January. And in fact, McManus has been booked by the referee for what I think could only be dissent. As Mayer once again playing it short, he really is doing himself no favours, because he was closed down quickly by two Dorking players on the edge of his own box. But he loves to play Russian roulette coming out of the box, but that's a great ball straight to the feet of Ollie just outside the box. Poor clearance from Niall McManus, the crossing from Kieran Lofthouse straight into the arms of Mayle. And now Dorking get on with things much quicker now with Mewett. The square pass to Moore, checks his run halfway inside the Gateshead half, finds Mewett in some space, cutting him from the right hand side. He's up against Wern. Back with Taylor, making his 100th appearance recently for Dorking. Inside the centre circle as Dorking are just forced back, trailing by 2-0. As Taylor tries to sidestep McBride. Doesn't manage to do that, but he's back with Frankham. And Gateshead now, with that comfortable 2-0 lead, are just stepping back a little more, inviting Dorking to come at them now. With Moore comes in field to Pybus. The angle ball, lovely line from Ottaway, finds McShane back towards Ottaway again, running across the edge of the 18-yard box. Could fall for Mowat as the ball bounces around inside the box. Falls kindly for Ottaway. Gets a lucky ricochet, almost falls back towards him. But Grayson steps beyond his own 18-yard line, and eventually Gateshead clear. Almost an opening there for Dorking. As we can tell you, there has been a goal in the game between Aldershot Town and Kidderminster Harriers. Rob Worrell at the EBB Stadium.
Yeah, 29 minutes gone now, but some 6 minutes ago, Aldershot Town took the lead, and you'll probably guess from my previous updates who scored it. It was the 19-year-old Josh Stokes, into double figures for the season. He's been involved in every forward move of any real threat this afternoon so far. And on this occasion, he ghosted onto a long ball through the middle, controlled it beautifully, stepped inside on his right foot and finished with aplomb past Christian Dibble. The shots look good value for that lead as we approach the half-an-hour mark here at the EBB Stadium. Aldershot Town 1, Kidderminster 0. Tolajin on the left.
So Aldershot lying in 7th, ahead of play, 1-0 up. Continuing their great form with a goal from Stokes. Scored a couple against Swindon in that amazing FA Cup win. But now more danger for Dorking as Chadwick wrestles away the keeper to beat. He slams it inside Mayall's left post. As we see it, it's a dire start for Dorking Wanderers, who have just conceded their 3rd goal in the first half, with little more than half an hour on the clock. And it's Chadwick with his 2nd goal of the game. There was an element of fortune as he bustled his way into the box. It took a ricochet off a Dorking defender. It fell kindly back at his feet, and with Mayall to beat, slammed it inside his near post. And it's 3-0. And this is a far, far cry from the team who were the envy of many sides in the National League in September. And yes, I do keep referring to it, but it was quite a run that they had away from home. And it's surprising to say the least, witnessing this display really, seeing them 3-0 down. They've been cut open so easily, they've been so vulnerable at the back, and it's not as though they've had wholesale changes at the back either. Barry Fuller would have played, I'm sure, at the back today, but he's suspended. But Frankham, Cook and Dan Gallagher certainly have a lot of experience between them in the heart of the defence, and they've just been cut open repeatedly during the first half. And Gateshead showing the kind of form that we have seen from them earlier in the season. They can be a free-flowing side. The biggest victory this season, 6-0 at Eastleigh in September. So when they turn it on, they can be absolutely ruthless. And they're 3-0 up, remember, without Dinanga. There's now Chadwick. They're beating the offside trap again here of Gateshead. There's Chadwick coming inside the box. Tight angle, lays it off. As McBride's shot takes a deflection off the legs of Gallagher out for a corner. Could easily have been number 4 against Dorking. And Mark White's got to do something quickly here, because they're being torn to shreds every time Gateshead come forward. And Hunter will be looking to inflict more pain on Dorking as he delivers his corner. Left-footed, it's going to be an out swinger. He's got Warren nearby, but he's going to swing the ball, as I say, away from goal. And it comes. And it comes and it's flashed across the face of goal. And that's going to go out for a goal kick with Regan Booty there with the header flashing across the face of goal. So let's go around the grounds again. So Crawley were level 1 apiece with Accrington Stanley. Gary Smith at the Broadfield, bring us up to date.
Yeah, that is still the scoreline here. Bernard, Crawley Town 1, Accrington Stanley 1. As I told you before, both goals in the opening 7 minutes. It's been a frantic place played so far. Crawley had a great chance after 21 minutes. A brilliant move that resulted in Kellen Gordon playing the ball in from the right, and a header from Lolos that could have gone anywhere and would have found the back of the net, apart from the place that it went, where it was a relatively routine save for McCracken. But then Bagaloo for Accrington was allowed to run a long way into the Crawley penalty area over on the right-hand side, but just got his angles wrong and drilled his shot wide of the post. This one is finely balanced, and there are going to be more goals in this one, but as it stands at the moment, we're all square. Crawley 1, Accrington 1.
So the shots recently went ahead through Stokes. Rob Worrell.
He'd have had that covered and he'd have made the save for the cameras, but it was shifting. It was definitely shifting, and that dive looked pretty desperate to me.
So Kidderminster coming close here at the EBB to an equaliser on 35 minutes. It remains Aldershot Town 1, Kidderminster 0.
OK, Benny, thanks for that. So let's go and see how Woking are doing at Oxford City. They were losing by 1-0. Is that still the case, Bryn Lucas?
Still the case, no, but unfortunately it's not good news from a Woking perspective. Well, another defensive mistake, really. The first one, Zach McEachran, was a real defensive mistake. Taylor back to Jääskeläinen. The second time, well, it was Denon Lewis who played the ball in towards Ince, right on the halfway line. It wasn't really a problem, wasn't going anywhere, but an Oxford City player was in between them. And then they started to spring the attack. Rowan Ince tried to tackle the ball away with a sliding tackle. They broke through, they managed to slide it through, and it was a simple finish really for Ollie Sanderson, who played it underneath Jääskeläinen as he came out from the edge of the area. But it is 28 minutes gone in that one, 2-0 to Oxford City. We're in the 35th minute of this game. Woking are huffing and puffing, but they're just not getting through.
So a chance for Dorking, almost grabbing a goal back. The cross coming in from Mowat, and there was James McShane just clipping the ball the wrong side of Mayor's far post. The closest that Dorking have come, but they still trail by 3-0 against Gateshead, and we do know that it was 1 apiece between Eastbourne Borough and Braintree Town. So you're up to date with all the local sides. It's a grim afternoon so far, though, certainly for Dorking Wanderers, and if they are going to get anything out of this game, they will have to stage an incredible fight back, and at the moment there's just no way I can see that coming right now. Although that said, had McShane got that goal just a moment or two ago, just before half-time, that may have just given them a glimmer of hope, but they have more defending to do. Gateshead piling forward down the right-hand side with Lofthouse and McBride. Really congested area down near the corner flag on the right-hand side. As Lofthouse tries to get away from McManus. Cue ball in from Ollie, back towards Lofthouse, who plays it square. Now with Wern stepping in from the left-hand side of the box. Cuts the ball back to Ollie. The neat layoff towards Francis. It's cleared forward towards Lofthouse. Lovely play from Gateshead on the edge of the Dorking area. Dorking really on the ropes, defending deep. A wayward cross coming in from Booty, the former Maidstone man, out for a goal kick. So at least Dorking Wanderers have got some respite. But if you just joined us on Saturday Sport with BBC Radio Surrey and BBC Sussex, the bad news is that Dorking are already trailing by 3-0 up at Gateshead. And there's going to be a change for Dorking. I'm just trying to see. It looks like Cook is coming off. just checking who's coming on. And it's Tony Craig. Tony Craig wearing the number 5. And I'm just wondering if Mark White has just seen that more as a personnel switch, really. Just to add some more experience and leadership at the back for Dorking, because that is what they are crying out for right now. Tony Craig, a welcome addition to the squad this afternoon. And in fact, Mark White did say that Tony Craig is that kind of player who can bring leadership to a team. So Cook is off, replaced by Tony Craig as Wern up against Gallagher, just forces him outside the area, but Chadwick coming into the side today, scoring 2 goals. McBride, they're looking menacing again. Warren slips under a tackle. It's with Ollie on the edge of the area. They're almost queuing up to shoot here, Gateshead, as Mail almost back in his own goal line, clears straight down the middle, straight onto the head of Ottaway, but he's got nobody to pick up the loose ball. Here's Louis Story, makes at least 20 yards. The neat layoff, Ollie, lovely play. As now McBride with a shot straight at Mail. Lovely one-touch football from Gateshead, showing the kind of form they were showing in abundance earlier in the season. Really enjoying it out there. Not surprisingly, they are leading by 3-0. And Josh Taylor wins a free kick off Greg Ollie just inside the Gateshead half, but it has been a sorry performance so far from Dorking Wanderers. Yes, you could argue Gateshead have played well at times, and they certainly have, but Dorking are going to look at, say, at least 2 of those goals and think about how they could have defended much better. Pybos with the ball towards the far post, forced towards Gallagher, first time shot blocked by 2 Gateshead players, Grayson and Story, denying Gallagher on that occasion about 12 yards out. So McShane's been close for Dorking, and Gallagher just had that chance in that pocket of space, closed down really quickly. Long throw from Taylor, headed away though by Kenton Richardson at the heart of the defence for Gateshead. Ottaway, lovely spin and turn, can he get the crossing? Decides against it, hugging the left-hand touchline. Back in field with Taylor, lovely footwork from him. Now with Moore, certainly much more zip about Dorking, as now the ball from Frankham. The cross is blocked with Moore. Can't get beyond Booty. And now Wern over the halfway line, the scorer of one of Gateshead goals. The home side leading by 3-0, coming up towards half-time. Dorking looking for a way back just before the break. But it has been a masterclass in the first half from Gateshead, finishing clinically 3 times. Could have been a 4th as well, but Harrison Mail pulled off a good save. Lovely turn from Chadwick, getting away from Craig, and he tried to thread through McBride, but Moore was at the back. Mail clears, it bounces on the halfway circle. Ed Francis looking busy in the heart of the Gateshead midfield, breaks towards Craig, finds Mail, plays it short towards Gallagher. And Pybos, first time ball, Mouet, forced right back into his own half and gets it back towards Mail, but Dorking once again forced back into their own half, trailing by 3-0. It's Frankham. It's now switched flanks onto the left. Great ball from Moore, finds Mouet inside the box, crosses, it's far too heavy though, it's far too ahead of Ottaway, and McShane making that run towards the 6-yard box, and Ottaway almost gesturing to Mouet, asking him just to bend the ball in a little nearer. It had the right kind of height and pace but it was ahead of both strikers inside the box. And there was no way either of them were going to get to that ball. So in the games covering our other teams, Crawley level with Accrington Stanley, the Shorts leading 1-0 at home against Kidderminster Harriers. The woes for Woking continue, 2-0 down at Oxford City. Whereas the last time we heard, it was Eastbourne Borough 1, Braintree Town 1. As we are going to see the board come up for added minutes at the end of the first half. 3 minutes to go in the first half. Has now Warren lines up for number 4 perhaps. Great block from Gallagher to deny him. Again, come Gateshead. Cries of shoot for McBride. Decides against it though. Story with his white boots plays it square. Booty, first time ball. Drifts it towards the right edge of the box. Clear shove in the back on Otway on his own 18-yard line. We'll have a half-time roundup, by the way, in all those games once we come to the conclusion at our game. But before we do, let's get a goal in the game between Eastbourne Borough and Braintree Town. Kevin Anderson.
We absolutely have, and it's gone to the home side. Fletcher Holman, local lad, 18-year-old, the absolute favourite of the fans, and he's a doubly a favourite now. Pounced on a defensive error, smacked it in from round about the penalty spot. It's been a fast open game, and Eastbourne have the edge at 2-1.
Thank you, Kevin. So Eastbourne Borough retake the lead just before half-time. Meanwhile, back at the Gateshead International Stadium, still no change. Dorking trailing by 3-0. Poor ball from Taylor, allowing Warren to step forward. Almost bypasses McBride towards Chadwick. Lovely footwork from him. Back with Wern again on the edge of the box. Tries a shot straight into the chest of Harrison Mayle. No more than 8 or 9 yards out. So 3 minutes of added time, and the half-time whistle cannot come quickly enough for Dorking Wanderers. Losing by 3-0. A double from Chadwick and one from Wern. Are they going to have time for just one more chance at the end of this half? But they just need to play the ball a little quicker. Tony Craig whipping the ball out onto the far side, finding Frankham. They're just strolling the ball between the defensive line inside the Dorking half. Eventually they come forward. Piper's caught slightly late, but the referee saw nothing wrong with the challenge. Booty with the first time ball towards Chadwick, who's been really busy and energetic. Francis. Back towards Grayson. Son of the former Leeds United boss, Simon Grayson. Mayor likes to just, once again, just play the ball out very delicately. And while the home fans may be clapping at half-time, and with good reason, as they lead by 3-0, it's been, well, something of a horror show for Dorking Wanderers, trailing 3-0 or 3-0 down inside the first half hour with a double from Billy Chadwick and Stephen Wern. It's been really, really poor. They've had a couple of chances, Dorking, with Mewett. He ran inside the Gateshead box, weaving his way in. His shot was deflected wide. McShane possibly could have done better from close range, but his shot went the wrong side of the post. But as I say, it really has been a sorry first half for Dorking Wanderers. Let's get a quick update on the closing stages at Woking. They were trailing 2-0 last we heard at Oxford City. Bryn Lucas, please bring us up to date.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's gone out to, I thought it had gone out on the far side. Actually, it's still in play. Oxford City starting now to threaten more. They are leading 2-0 as we're around 30 seconds from the end of this first half here in Oxford. Woking, well, they've been pressing a fair bit, but it's just down to their own failings, really, in defence. A couple of misplaced passes, heavy touches, and Oxford City have managed to take advantage of each of those as the ball goes out now on the near side just in front of me, and it's an Oxford City throw. They're not going to be in any hurry to take it, but Coyle makes one of those motions to throw and then decides he's going to drop the ball to behind him, and Moore can take it, having a bit of a discussion between them of who should take the throw in as we now move into the final seconds of this first half. It's been a very, very tough first half to watch. The final moments here as the whistle goes, it is half time, and it is Oxford City 2, Woking 0, and it's not really what the Cards want. They have threatened, but they've not managed to get it over the line, whereas Oxford City have. A tough first half from a Woking perspective.
Yeah. Very, very tough from everyone connected, really, from the players, the management and the fans. And to be 2-0 down in a game like this when they've had so much possession, and it's really been 2 sucker punches from defensive mistakes. And to add to that, then there was the ball going in, which we're pretty sure was onside, that was given as offside. And a real, it's been a really tough half for Woking fans. Well,
that's the voice of Ian Nicholson himself. And me, Bryn Lucas, will be back for the second half very soon. But right now, back to you, Tim.
Great stuff, Bryn there with commentary alongside Ian. That'll continue online. Let's get half-time. The whistle has gone at the EBB Stadium. Let's get the thoughts of Steve Gibbs alongside Rob Wild.
Yeah, the Shots lead by 1-0 at half-time, Tim, and they certainly warrant that. They've had the lion's share of the chances. Josh Stokes involved in everything, and Steve, having had the threat of the after the Lord Mayor show scenario this afternoon after the magnificent FA Cup win last week, Tommy Widrington and the Aldershot team will be relatively happy, I'm sure, albeit a slender lead, to be ahead at half-time without having conceded today.
Yeah, this is a little bit more bread and butter than last Saturday, which was eye-rubbingly, eye-wateringly thrilling, but yeah, this has been more back to the day job, back to the bread and butter of the National League, and Aldershot Town thoroughly deserved their 1-0 lead against the lowly Kidderminster team, who, yes, maybe not coming here in the best of form, struggling for goals, but they're dangerous. They've got a couple of good players going forward, particularly, who can trouble the Shots, and I think the Shots' defensive resilience and discipline has been nearly as impressive as their attacks going forward, particularly Josh Stokes, who's running the game this afternoon. And yeah, still expect a 1-0 win. Hopefully, though, the Shots will still expect a home win. Hopefully the Shots will embellish that in the second half.
Well, we shall see in the second half, Tim. 1-0 to the Shots here against Kidderminster Harriers at half-time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Enjoy well-earned break. It's half-time at Crawley 1-1. We'll go there in a moment's time and just let them sum up on the iPlayer at the moment. Let's go then to National League South. Couple of games that Kevin Anders is keeping an eye on, but the game he's watching, literally inside Priory Lane, is Eastbourne Borough against Braintree, and a couple of notable goal scorers for the home side, Kevin.
Yes, a couple of teenage goal scorers for the Borough see them 2-1 ahead at half-time after a really cracking first half, ever so fast-paced. The Borough took the lead on just 2 minutes. Billy Vigor floating in a header, sort of looping header over the keeper from a right-wing cross. But Braintree, once they sort of got their boots laced up, really went for it. They're very fast, very direct, and they got themselves an equaliser on 26 minutes. It was Borough's fault, really. They tried to play out from the back too dangerously, lost possession, and Braintree grabbed that equaliser through Reggie Lamb. But Borough kept at it. There's lots of cheering around me because the under-6s, I think it is, are playing a half-time, and the fluorescent oranges have just taken the lead against the fluorescent yellows. Where were we? Yeah, Borough kept at it, playing good football, keeping the ball moving, and they got their reward just after the 45, just into stoppage time, when Fletcher Holman, another of these young local lads, 18-year-olds, 20-year-old, pounced on a defensive error by the centre-half and slid it into the corner for 2-1 lead for Eastbourne Borough. As I say, real action stuff and great fun. Meanwhile, across the National South, Worthing are going to have an awful long trip on a Tuesday night to Weston-super-Mare because their game was postponed through a waterlogged pitch. Farnborough have been really at it against Weymouth, but they trail by a goal to nil. That goal scored halfway through the first half. Farnborough since then have hit the post twice, so there is life in that game yet. Meanwhile, on Len Smith's day, Len Smith will be up there cheering the Borough on because they lead 2-1, Tim.
Probably because of Len Smith, Kevin, the under-6s are on that pitch at all. Yeah, our thoughts once again with Len Smith's family. To our final game, and certainly listening with one ear, it's been the game of the day. Couple of goals in it. Crawley against Accrington Stanley. League 2 action. Getting his breath back. A certain Gary Smith.
Well, it's been absolutely exhilarating here, Tim, and half-time is an opportunity for Tony and I to catch our breath, because much like the game at Notts County last Saturday, this one could easily be 3-3 at the break. As it is, we stand all square at 1 apiece, and the action started inside the first 2 minutes when Jack Nolan for Accrington got on the end of a quick throw on the far side, jinked his way into the box, Cullingfield onto his left foot and drilled it between the legs of goalkeeper Luca Ashby-Hammond to put the visitors 1 goal ahead. But Crawley responded, and Danilo Orsi, after just 7 minutes, one-on-one, fed through by Clydie Lolos, just took a brilliant first touch, put him in on the goalkeeper, and he slotted it home for his 8th goal of the season. After 21 minutes, a great move by Crawley that resulted in a cross by Kellen Gordon, saw Clydie Lolos have a header that was saved by McCracken. Bagaloo then broke forward for the opposition after 27 minutes, but dragged his shot wide of the post. Nick Cerula jinked his way into the penalty area, drilled one across the 6-yard box, where it just looked like any touch from a defender or a Crawley Town striker would force it over the line, but it just fizzed past everybody and out of play for a goal kick. And then Luca Ashby-Hammond, after 41 minutes, had to make a brilliant save from the Accrington skipper Pritchard with a shot that was flying towards the top corner, and the Crawley Town goalkeeper manages to tip it behind for Accrington's 4th corner kick of the game. There will be goals in this second half, Tim. We just hope that they go the way of the boys in the red shirts. But as it stands at the moment, it is Crawley 1, Accrington 1. I'm off to get a coffee.
You've earned it. Gary Smith, great stuff. Thank you very much indeed. What's happening in the Premier League and the other sporting stories of the day? Cameron Anderson-Jones can update us.
Yes, thank you very much, Tim. I'll give you a little warning. If you do want to watch Match of the Day tonight, then you need to run away from the radio, because I'm going to be giving you all the latest scores all half-time at the moment. In the Premier League then, the early kick-off was Wolves versus Tottenham, and Wolves scored 2 stoppage-time goals as they came from behind to beat Spurs 2-1 at Molineux. It means that Ange Postecoglou's side have lost back-to-back games in the league. Let's hear from Pablo Sarabia, who turned the game around for Wolves.
Amazing moment for everyone, for every teammates. It's very important for us to go to the break with 3 points because the last game we lose, and it's important to take the confidence in ourselves in front of the supporter, and amazing moment and an incredible ambience in the stadium again.
Describe your feelings as the ball comes towards you. You know you've got to have one touch and then another, and you did both.
Yes, I think it's the most important in the score, the first touch, and after we score. But I really want to score in front of the support here.
When that equaliser went in, did you feel there could be another goal for you guys?
Yes, I feel every time try to score, and I think it's the same mentality for everyone, and for us today we get it, and it's amazing moment for us. No more.
Do you take pleasure in the second goal as well?
Yes, I try to assist, because normally when stand up my head, I try to this pass, and Mario know me. Because of this, trust in me, my assist, and after he scored incredible.
Is this one of your finest days since you came to Wolverhampton?
Yes, of course. Of course, the most important for the team is show the best level for everyone.
Well done today. Thank you.
In the rest of the games, it is half-time in the 3 p.m. kickoffs, and it remains goalless between Manchester United and Luton Town at Old Trafford. Arsenal have taken the lead against Burnley as Leonardo Trossard scored in stoppage time in the first half. If the Gunners do win, they'll go ahead of rival Spurs and will be level with league leaders Manchester City. Elsewhere, there's been 2 goals in the game between Everton and Crystal Palace. Mikalenko opened the scoring inside 60 seconds before Eberechi Eze replied for the hosts from the penalty spot. Eze, who signed a new deal until 2027 during the week, has now rewarded his manager Roy Hodgson. Later this evening, though, Newcastle United travel to Bournemouth in the Premier League, and manager Eddie Howe has been talking about the difficulties he currently has in the squad.
Injuries, suspensions combined, I think the big thing is I back the players, back our squad, but I think that probably the biggest challenge is in-game running. Probably my options are restricted, and I think that's probably the biggest effect on our situation at the moment.
The hosts Bournemouth are without Alex Scott as he suffered a knee injury during last weekend's defeat against Manchester City, and their manager Areola says it's a big loss.
He has been playing really well. The minutes he has been able to play, he was really, really good, and he made us a better team. But also there is a good part that we have to see, that we've seen in these 2-3 games, that we have a very good player there, and he will be available in some weeks.
A reminder that if you are thinking, where is Brighton and Hove Albion? Well, the Seagulls are back in action tomorrow, and we'll be building up to that match tomorrow with kick-off at 1:30 on BBC Radio Sussex. Tennis now, and unfortunately Leatherhead's Jack Draper has lost the final of the Sofia Open in Bulgaria to Frenchman Adrian Mariano. The match ended 7-6, 2-6, 6-3, and it went to 3 sets, but in the end, Draper did finish runner-up. Elsewhere, former world number 1 and Surrey resident Andy Murray and his coach Ivan Lendl have ended their partnership, and BBC tennis correspondent Russell Fuller explains.
Murray has described Lendl as a unique character who understands what it takes to win. And paying his own tribute, Lendl said no one has worked harder than Murray, and the sport is better because of him. This third spell began in March of last year, but they rarely met away from the Grand Slams, and Murray wants to put greater focus on his training blocks next year. They will be run by his existing coaching team of Mark Hilton and Johnny O'Mara, and his competitive year will begin in Brisbane in the first week of January.
And finally, a reminder in basketball that Surrey's Scorchers will be in action tonight against Bristol Flyers from 5 p.m. That's all from me with your sporting roundup.
Great work, Cameron.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Reminder, if you're a Woking or an Aldershot fan, BBC Local Radio, ourselves providing full internet commentary with our Aldershot team and our Woking commentaries team online right now. We'll dip in and get instant goal news from those games. Our radio commentary for now will stay with Dorking and see if they can climb back in. They are 3-0 down today away at Gateshead. Work to do for Mark White and his side. He must have, Bernard, must have had to give one of the biggest speeches for some time to his players.
Well, who knows? He may have given them the silent treatment. Who knows? But we are underway here. Thank you so much, Tim, and welcome back to the Gateshead International Stadium. And, well, it was certainly a half to forget for Dorking Wanderers. 3-0 down. They've made a couple of changes at the break. In fact, Mark White has now made all 3 changes. He brought on Tony Craig before half-time, replacing Joe Cook, and he's brought on 2 strikers. Pryor and Alfie Rutherford are both on Ottaway. He's certainly one player who is off, and I'm just having a quick look just to work out who the second player may well be. So during the course of the half, I will work that one out for you. And I'll go through the lineups in just a moment's time as Harrison Mayle, formerly with Gateshead, had a very short spell here, clears. And Niall McManus, with his yellowish boots, gets it all the way back to Harrison Mayle. So no changes as far as I can tell for the resurgent Gateshead, 3-0 up at the break. They've had trouble at home recently, losing their last 2, but today it's looking a different story entirely, as Ollie is going to be booked, the captain, just pulling back George Frankham. So that's the first booking for them this afternoon. So I'm going to go through the Gateshead lineup very quickly first, ahead of this free kick. So the lineup with Mayer, back three of Richardson, Story and Grayson, Lofthouse, Wern, Booty, Francis and Ollie in midfield, with McBride and Chadwick up front. So first set piece of the second half for Dorking. Can they make this count? They've got to get a goal early in the second half, you would think, to mount any fight back, I should say, as Franco whips the ball in towards the far post, towards Pryor. As Booty clears, then there's a high one from Grayson. That's going to land towards the centre circle. Underneath it, though, is Niall McManus. Moore, with an outstretched leg, reaches out, gets it, finds Frankham still inside the Dorking half, though, with McManus running across the centre circle. Gallagher, and infield to Pybus. As Taylor is just forced back towards Craig. Dorking keeping the ball well, inching their way forward, crossing the halfway line, switching play now onto the right hand side with Gallagher. Takes a couple of touches, infield to Pybus. And Craig, almost with a disguised square pass, finds Gallagher, who has at least 5 to 10 yards to run into. It's all rather congested though, near the halfway line. That's where they meet the Gateshead press. And Pybus drops short, picks up again. Shows an injection of pace. And Pryor dropping short near the halfway line. We know what he's capable of. The leading scorer for Dorking picks up now in a pocket of space down the right hand side. James McShane taps it short. The cross comes into the heart of the 6-yard area. Kyron Lofthouse clears, takes a look at ricochet. Now all of a sudden Ollie breaks away for Gateshead, peeling away down the left hand side, running into the box. Who's closing him down? Steps inside one man, bends the shot around Harrison Mayle. A disastrous start for Dorking. We tried to give Dorking the benefit of the doubt, hoping they would grab an early goal in the second half, and with the very first attack since half time, Greg Ollie has grabbed the fourth for Gateshead. And if there was the slimmest of chances that Dorking were going to get back into this game, even the most optimistic of Dorking fans, and you have to feel sorry for those who have made the long journey up, even they must now be thinking it's beyond them. 4-0 Dorking Wanderers trail, and they could be on the receiving end of the biggest defeat this season. Already 4-0 down. And surely it must just be about respectability now. Possibly grabbing a goal or two. Just anything. They need something. Just to give their fans something to cheer about. They're playing for pride right now. And Gateshead come forward again. And they've sprung the offside trap. No, they haven't. As Chadwick, he's got real pace, Billy Chadwick. But he was well ahead of the Dorking defensive line. So let me give you the lineup for Dorking. So Harrison Mayle in goal. A back three of Tony Craig, Dan Gallagher. And in fact, it looks like it's George. No, George Frankham is still on the field, but Pybus, and in fact, I don't think Mewitt's on. So Mewitt is the other change for Dorking. So in midfield, Dan Pybus, Josh Taylor, Luke Moore, Niall McManus, James McShane, and up front, Rutherford and Pryor. Those are both your lineups. We got there eventually. So, Dorking trailing by 4-0. There has been a goal for Crawley in their game against Accrington Stanley. Gary Smith.
And what a goal it was, Bernard, as well. It's gone the way of defender Will Wright from fully 30 yards. Picked the ball up from a little pass inside by Liam Kelly. Just ducked inside onto his right foot, and he unleashed an absolute bullet that the goalkeeper got his fingers to, but he couldn't keep it out. And Crawley have turned this one around. 49.5 on the clock, and the Reds are in front. Crawley 2, Accrington Stanley 1.
Great news for Crawley. Meanwhile, Dorking could have lost their 5th goal, with Booty running into the heart of the box. His shot was charged down. It's a corner for the home side as Ollie, the captain, raises his right arm. He's going to bend this one away from goal. In fact, he goes short instead. Picks up the 1-2 with Wern. Tries to shake off Pybus. Lovely reverse ball. Wern flights the ball to the far side. The header from Louis Story goes the wrong side of Harrison Mayall's post. And it sounds like a cliche, but judging by what I've seen so far, every time Gateshead come forward, they do look as though they are going to score. And that's a really, really worrying sign. Franke for Dorking, just gesturing towards Niall McManus to come nearer towards the ball. He picks up, but he's forced back into his own half as Craig, with a heavy touch, cannons off his shins and goes out for a throw. Just looking at Mark White, just drinking from a paper cup, and just steps back into his dugout. What on earth is he thinking? We'll certainly get some after-match reaction from Mark, hopefully, and possibly a player as well after 5 o'clock, as Luke Moore's committed a tackle just outside his own box. Can't quite make out who the Gateshead player is, but this is a dangerous position for the home side. Left edge of the penalty area, no more than 3 yards out. And there's a booking for Luke Moore. Not sure how many Dorking fans have made that mammoth trip north today. And I think they may well be situated at the far end of the Tyne and Weir stand. I'm more or less direct in line with the 18-yard line towards Dorking's goal. Francis is over this, and he's going to bend this over the wall into the area. Comes off the head of a Gateshead player. The shot comes in from McBride, slams off a Dorking defender, and it's out for another corner. And you really do fear the worst every time Gateshead are inside the Dorking box. And unlike some sides who ease up and play within themselves when they have a commanding lead, Gateshead are doing the opposite. They are looking for more goals. Ollie, that's a poor corner, where it still falls for McBride. Shot charged down, another shot comes in from Booty, another corner. The pressure continues on the Dorking defence, losing by 4-0. The game seemingly already beyond Dorking. Ollie again to take this, again raising the right arm, swings the ball away from goal towards the near post, and Louis Story got to it first with his head, and it flashes beyond the far post for a goal kick. So what on earth is Mark White going to think of this? So with this game seemingly going Gateshead way, let's go and pick up some match commentary on Woking. They're at Oxford City and they were trailing 2-0. So let's go to Bryn Lucas now.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's still 2-0 to Oxford City here against Woking. And in this second half, Woking, with all the industry they're doing, they're throwing everything at it, closing down the spaces as much as they can do, but they just missed that pass at the final moment, and it just plays into Oxford City's hands every single time. As here comes a breakaway here, and Jääskeläinen's forced to clear it away right-footed, taking it really off the foot of Zach McEachran, who's already scored one for Oxford City here. But Woking trying to find a way through. They're just missing that ball at the wrong or the right moment, and it's allowing Oxford City to regroup. Very, very frustrating from a Woking point of view. But here we are, 57 minutes into this game. Substitutes about to happen here for Woking, and it is Oxford City 2, Woking 0.
Number 14 is Reece Brown.
The substitution has been made. It looks like Reece Brown has just been taken off the field, and that means that Payne has just come on. Pavey on here for Woking. Myself, Bryn Lucas in the commentary, and next to me Ian Nicholson. Talk us through this one, Ian, the thoughts from the game so far.
Well, I think on the change, I mean, obviously it suggests, I mean, Pavey is more of an aerial threat, and he's also a striker, so it's really looking for someone who can score a goal. And so that's I think the thinking. Reece Brown had his moments, but really Oxford just like they're just running past Woking players.
Woking have been trying to close the space down as much as they can. The ref blows his whistle for a foul on Humphrey Ewers, and Josh Parker at the moment is here just asking the referee, what's going on. Josh Parker, very, very experienced. Now, if you want the rest of that Dorking match, don't forget you can listen live online on BBC Sport. You can catch all the games from around the non-league action, including us and Aldershot's Dorking, how they're getting on too. But let's have an update from Rob, who's watching the game down at the EBB Stadium. Rob, what's going on there?
There's 59 minutes gone, Bryn, and it's still Aldershot Town 1, Kidderminster 0. This game's on a little bit of a knife edge. Kidderminster have got a free kick here on the edge of the box. It should take place in the next few seconds, so stay with us. We're into the 60th minute, and up steps Richards, who blazes it over the top to some ironic jeers from the EBB faithful. The shots remain ahead by that one slender goal lead against the Harriers, Bryn.
Thanks very much there, Rob. Yeah, that moment just there where Will Jääskeläinen looked up and three Woking players bombing forwards there, Ian, looking for the ball. Yeah. And that's the one time that Will Jääskeläinen holds on to it.
Yeah, he does have a good kick on him, but it was... it just seems a little bit lacking in direction at the moment. There's, like you say, the industry is there, and so on, but the direction and strategy, it's hard to make out.
Well, Taylor has it now. He plays it back to Jääskeläinen, who looks up. As we say, he's got a tremendous kick on him, and he hoofs it long, way inside the Oxford City half, but they managed to get the ball away. Tossing the ball high again. Parker using his body to roll Moss. He's got the ball, so experienced. Josh Parker scored 8 goals this season for Oxford City. He looks up, he plays the ball backwards. Oxford City happy to keep it, happy to knock the ball around. They got 2 goals to the good here as we enter the hour mark of this game. 30 to go, and Oxford City looking pretty comfortable as the ball goes forward and rolls back once again into the hands of Jääskeläinen. He rolls it out to Cuthbert. Looking up, plays it to Moss on the right-hand side. Still inside the Woking half. Plays it back to Cuthbert. Woking need to get this forward. They need to get a goal. They've got the big guns on. They've got Ammon. They've got Gregor Cox. They've got Alfie Pavey on as well. A few more attacking options than they had before. A bit more height with Pavey as well in the team. They're quite a short forward line, aren't they, Ian? So with having Alfie Pavey, it gives them another option.
He's good with the head, but he needs service. He's the sort of forward who needs service.
Well, there's a bit of service just there, and it's managed to be cleared away to the chest of Moss. The ball was put in. It was aimed towards Pavey. It played a bit short there. And here they come once more. On the left-hand side, Ammond with it. Left-footed and straight onto the head of the Oxford City defender who's on the penalty spot. And on they come once again. And Ince just there, put out a foot, almost trying to trip the player. Very lazy to the edge of the area. Here comes a shot, and it's side netting. That was almost a net-busting shot from Ollie Sanderson, but it went wide into the side netting once again. But a counter-attack by Oxford City from a real strong Woking attack there.
Really, the counter-attack came just running through midfield.
Yeah.
Rowan Ince just turned Rowan Ince, and he sort of stuck out a leg, but didn't seem to be any real intent to get the ball.
It was a lazy leg, wasn't it, from
Ince?
You don't see that from Ince very often.
No, it looked it. And then we had the ball just there down the channels. Rhys Cox just zipping, he's saying, put it a bit higher. I think signalling back, but running into the challenge, and having Pavion does change the balance somewhat.
Right, Ammon's on the right-hand side. Rhys Cox just ahead of them all, and Pavey just alongside almost. A bit of a wrestle going on with Parker asking why he's not getting a free kick. Moss had his arm round him. He had his arm round Moss. Bit of a cuddle going on, really. Yeah. It's cold out there, isn't it? You don't blame them, but the free kick has been given.
Well, you think they're having a hug because it's cold?
Because it's cold, yeah, it must be. That's the only reason I can think there, because they're both the target. And Moss went down on the floor, and I don't know. It could have been given either way, couldn't it? That one there. The ref has given it to Oxford City, but they both had their arms round each other. Was the point I was trying to make?
Yeah.
Here comes Oxford City once again. Humphrey Ewers has it. He plays it inside to Smith. Smith looks across and plays it off to the right-hand side now. Nice control, the back heel by Thari Moore. He has it, plays it to the right once again. Oxford City on the ball, looking quite attack-minded as the cross comes in, and it was flicked away. Not sure who got his head on it, actually. Ian, did you see? Was it Moore? Oh, was it
Moss, I think.
Was it Moss?
Moss, yeah, who's actually in the walls. I think that time he went over obviously winded him. He's holding his ribs. But typical Dan Moss not calling for support.
It's certainly very cold out here, trying to get those, trying to get a nice bit of air into your lungs, but it's not working. Let's have an update, really, shall we? From Crawley, they're playing Accrington.
Short to get it. Going to update the radio listeners to BBC Radio Sussex and BBC Radio Surrey in a moment. And we are approaching 61 minutes played here at the Broadfield Stadium. We are still 2-1, Crawley in front after just 3 minutes of the second half, with an absolute thunderbolt from Will Wright for his second goal of the season. Accrington have just made a triple change to try and gamble at things and get themselves back into the game, but as it stands at the moment, with 61 minutes on the clock, the Reds have turned it around and they lead Accrington by 2-1.
No one at the back sticks. That was a delightful little chipped cross there from Oxford City. Oh,
yeah, Josh Casey really remonstrating with the referee there, saying, that was a foul, but it wasn't given. And that was Greg Taylor there, passed to Morgan Williams, it just went straight out. And you really do get the feeling now that 63 minutes into this game that, Woking heads are dropping. Scott Cuthbert is demonstrating, pick yourselves up, come on.
Yeah, he is. And Dan Moss is still holding onto his chest, isn't he? From that earlier incident where he was sort of brought down, or he brought down Parker, whichever way you look at it. It is still Oxford City 2, Woking 0 in the 64th minute. You're listening live on BBC Surrey.
Yeah, Dan Moss is I think he's in trouble. I think he is holding him. He is holding his ribs and so on. But all three substitutions have been made.
He looks very, very uncomfortable, so he won't be able to be taken off here. And Woking need their best 11 out there if they can. They can't really risk anything. They can't go down to 10 men, take Moss off. He's going to have to stay there if he can do it and see this one through. Hopefully he'll start to move a bit more freely as this match goes on. But 65 minutes gone, 25 to go, and Woking trailing 2-0. And you've got to say, in the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this one, it's really going Oxford City's way, isn't it?
Yeah, they're quicker to the ball, and you feel that, as we were just saying, heads have dropped a bit after no breakthrough in the first few minutes.
And every single second ball is being won by Oxford City at the moment, as Carroll takes it and the ball is won again, and Moss brings it forwards. He looks okay. Oh, and then a very, very late challenge there, and I'm sure that was a free kick, but it wasn't given, and Jaskalainen grabs it. And we've got another update. Let's find out what's going on at one of the other matches around.
So it's still 4-0 here at the Gateshead International Stadium. A sorry afternoon for Dorking continuing here. Alfie Rutherford, though, did have a chance to grab one for Dorking. A lovely, smart turn and shot that Archie Mayer was forced just to tip round the post. But apart from that, it is still all Gateshead, and they win, or they are leading, I should say, by 4-0.
Thanks very much there for the update. Gateshead looking very solid, aren't they, at the moment against Dorking, but Woking here trailing 2-0 to Oxford City, and Oxford City looking very assured for this one here, home at their compact little raw charging stadium here on the outskirts of Oxford. It's a free kick to Woking, though, off on the left-hand side. I think it's going to be a right foot in swinger. It certainly looks like it here. All the big guns have been sent up for Woking. They've got Alfie Pavey up there. I think he's going to be the target of this one. Ronin's just on the edge of the area. He's very, very tall, very physical-looking player. The right hand goes up from the free kick taker, the way they do nowadays. And here we go. Ref blows his whistle. He's looking on to see about the argy-bargy that's going on inside the box. That ball is put forward, and a big punch there by the goalkeeper. Clears it away just to Ronins on the edge. He looks up, plays it back to Moss, who's now moving much more freely. He sends it in, and up comes the keeper and grabs it both hands. Jack Bycroft, the Southampton goalkeeper, who's now here on loan to January, and he then grabs it and then falls to the floor to eke out a few more seconds. Ian Nicholson.
Yeah, he's played very well. Yeah. You know, all that he's had thrown at him, he's been up to. But yeah, again, Woking pressuring, looking for a breakthrough.
Big physical frame.
Doesn't seem likely at the moment.
No, that's right. The big physical frame of Jack Bycroft. He's got the fluorescent yellowy green full keeper's kit on, including the shorts and the socks. You can't miss him, that's for sure. Doesn't even need a light near him to see where he's going. Absolutely glowing on his debut here for Oxford City. Ewers has it, plays it back now to his defender. That is Kenny Carroll with a long hair tied up in a bun at the back. Nicely won there from Woking. That was Williams who has it, and then he was taken out, and the referee blows his whistle. And again, Josh Casey comes
there,
over.
I think.
Yeah,
he got caught by two men
he did.
At the same time.
And you could see that Casey comes over, the captain, Josh Casey, to have another word with the referee to say, look, how many times are you going to allow them to get away with this? It's one of these weird games, isn't it, Ian, where, you know, sometimes you see referees say to a player, like I've given you two, now is a yellow card. Yeah. But it seems to be a different player each time that's going in for a tackle. And I always think if it's a yellow, it's a yellow. You shouldn't give them one chance or two. It's the challenges merits whatever the result of the challenge merits.
I mean, you could say he's been consistent.
Yeah.
He hasn't thrown the cards around, which in one sense is good. But that was a very robust challenge.
Certainly was. But in comes that free kick, and Ammon chases it down. He says it's a corner, and no one agrees with him from an official's point of view, from an Oxford City point of view. And it's going to be a goal kick to Oxford City. 69 minutes into this one now, 21 to go. It's getting a bit nervy from a Woking point of view. They need a goal, but we've been saying that since they conceded the first one. The goal kick is about to come in, but let's have an update from the EBB. Aldershot against Kidderminster. Rob, what have you got for us?
Right. Yeah, it's still 1-0 to the shot sprint, but there's a bit of nervous tension in the ground. Ironic surprise cheers there as Aldershot have just been awarded a corner that they didn't expect. But there's no doubt at all Kidderminster have had their best spell in the last 15 minutes. Tollett has had a swerver palmed away by Van Stappershoef. Christian Pearce just took the ball down after a set piece and swerved brilliantly onto his right foot, but somehow managed to blaze over from 9 yards. And there's no doubt at all that the Harriers are still in this game. We've got this corner now for the Shots at the East Bank end. We're in the 71st minute. They lead by that slender 1-goal lead. In comes the ball, and it's cleared away. 1-0 Shots.
Yeah, no, that really sets it up and will lift Woking for this last 20 minutes.
By number 10, Patrick Almond.
But the ball, Scott Cuthbert won the header.
Yep.
Down to the near post, and Ammond was just running through and anticipated and hit it firmly into the net. Good striker's goal, good work by Cuthbert.
It's the law of something, isn't it? You
Very
leave us
direct.
on the radio. Yeah, you leave us on the radio to go to an update elsewhere, and Woking are back in this game, and it's Ammond who took it. A very, very nice assured finish. The first real chance that Woking have had in this second half. They took it with aplomb. It is now Oxford City 2, Woking 1, and you've sensed that maybe this one's turning slightly. The belief has come back into the Woking players. They're all holding themselves up a little bit taller, the chests out a little bit more, Ian, and there's now a bit more guile about the Woking lineup without any real change apart from a goal.
No, exactly. How often does that happen? But it is, you can just see people perking up, and certainly the fans are perked up. The first bit of noise we've had for a long time for the Woking fans, but it's another tussle there between Parker and Moss.
And it's another free kick. It's gone to Woking. And now what we're seeing is Woking starting to win a few more free kicks where they weren't earlier on. And that was a foul on Morgan Williams, wrestled to the floor there just inside their own half. But that's where we're seeing it, aren't we? The confidence has gone up. And with that confidence, the free kicks and the second balls are going to Woking.
And for Oxford City, their mind will be, because that always happens, their mind will be, let's just snuff out the next 5 or 10 minutes. Let's see the game out. For Woking, it's saying, can we capitalise on this?
Well, Oxford City have only won 3 games so far in the league this season, 3 out of 18. That's why they're second from bottom. Woking sitting 12th in the league before this game here. They've won a few more than Oxford City, that's for sure, but their form, the last 5 games, they're both won 1, lost 4. So you can see how tight it could be. Oh, that's a great move there from Casey. He won the ball. Almond's got it. He drifts inside the area. He is now looking up, slides the ball across, and the defender comes on. Carroll punches the air. He slid in there as the ball was put across from Almond. It goes out for a corner kick to Woking. A very, very good defensive display there from Carroll. He's looked assured all afternoon, but now we're starting to see Woking are a few chinks in the ice, aren't they? They're finding a way through here now, and we haven't been saying that much in this second half. 73rd minute, a corner to Woking, and it comes right-footed outswinger onto the head. Oh, just missed. The head was won, but it went a bit too high. Couldn't quite control it. It's come back out, but Woking have it with Moss. He puts the ball back in once again, and it's cleared once again by Oxford City. And they look to try and slow it down a little bit. They could have tried to counter, but rather than busting forwards, they are holding on to the ball once again. But Woking, as they were doing early doors in the first half, closing down the space a little bit quicker, trying to rush Oxford City. And they look up, the pass put forward to Gregor Cox. He takes one touch. They still have it, Gregor Cox. He puts it to the right-hand side. Oh, and it goes to Williams now on the edge of the area. He turns to his right-hand side. The shot's put in, the cross is put in, and the keeper just, I thought, got his hand to it, but it goes over the crossbar just there. The keeper didn't need to get his hand to it, Bycroft, but my word, Woking are asking questions of this Oxford City defence.
It's remarkable. It's only been 2 minutes, but what a turnaround, and suddenly Woking are quicker to the ball, trying to make something happen. And the other thing you have to mention as well is that, Oxford City obviously aren't that well placed in the league themselves, so in their minds, they will have been in games where they thought, we're doing okay here, and then they've let it slip. Yeah. So the demons, if you like, are playing in both sets of players, because neither side has been having a great run of it.
No, absolutely right. And I think Parker was hoping for a free kick just there as the ball was put in, a long goal kick by Jack Bycroft, but the header was won by a Woking player, by Cuthbert, in fact, I think it was on him, and it goes for a throw into Oxford City on this near side, just inside the Woking half, when the ref blows his whistle for a free kick, and Woking will have the ball once again just on the edge of their area. We have got 15 and a bit minutes to go, plus time added on in this second half. It's getting nervy, but it's only nervy if you're an Oxford City fan, because I think Woking can sense that a goal could come here. They're really, really starting to turn the screw, aren't they? And the ball put forward, Moss wins it. The second ball always seems to end up on a Woking head or a Woking foot right now. Williams to the left-hand side to Casey, to Ammond, who rolls it all the way back now to Greg Taylor, who looks up left-footed to the edge of the area to Gregor Cox, who is the target. Goes over both he and the defender's head, and now Oxford City trying to clear it. It's gone to Parker, who's got the ball at his feet, and there's 3 or 4 players around him, and now the referee's blown for a free kick, I think, but I'm not sure on who or why.
No, there've been so many very physical challenges. I mean, he might have seen a tug of a shirt or something like that, but it's generally Dan Moss has handled Parker very well today.
Well, it certainly has. Well, let's get an update elsewhere. What's going on with Crawley? Let's find out.
We're just approaching 73.5 minutes played, and this game is really on a knife edge. Crawley still lead by 2 goals to 1, all square at the break, but Crawley scored within the opening 3 minutes of the second half. An absolute firecracker from Will Wright, drifted infield onto his right foot as Orsi's got beyond the defence. Orsi in on goal, being pulled back, surely goes over. Referee indicates a penalty. Crawley are going to have a penalty kick, and that could be in even more trouble. There's a red card being flashed here, and Crawley are going to have the opportunity to give themselves clear daylight. Orsi got beyond the defence, he was in on goal, he was dragged back, and the referee, Mr. Rock, says that the Accrington man was the last defender, which indeed he was, and Crawley Town will have the opportunity with 16 minutes to play to score their 3rd goal of the afternoon. I can't remember that they've had a penalty in open play so far this season, Tony, so it's going to be interesting to see who is going to take it, but certainly it is going to be a penalty kick to Crawley Town and the opportunity to extend the lead to 3 goals to 1. It is the number 5 for Accrington, Brad Hills, who is making his way across to this near touchline. He's the man that's been red carded. Accrington are going to have to play the remainder of this game with only 10 men. He's the man that brought down Orsi. Orsi has picked himself up and will have the opportunity for his 2nd goal of the afternoon, his 9th goal of the season from 12 yards. Danilo Orsi in front of the KRL Logistics stand to give Crawley a 3-1 lead as we hit 75 minutes. This could be the goal. Orsi smashes it down the middle, and he has his 2nd of the afternoon, and Crawley have a 3rd, and is that the goal that wraps up the points for Crawley here this afternoon and gives them a first league win since September the 30th. Feed the horse is what they say whenever he scores. Crawley could be winning this one at a canter now this afternoon. It is Crawley Town 3, Accrington Stanley 1.
Right calf.
I suspect it's something very minor. That would be my suspicion. I think, as with a lot of teams, you have sort of tactical injuries that enable both sets of players have gone off. They have a bit of a tactical talking to, taking some water
while Jack Bycroft, the Oxford City goalkeeper, the lonely goalkeeper, making his debut, is kneeling on one leg as if he's proposing to the physio as he gets some form of treatment. All the players have gone over for a swig of water while Darren Sahl barks some orders at them, probably just trying to keep the encouragement going, really. Darren Sahl, he's always quite gruff voice, isn't he, anyway, but nothing is happening at the moment while we wait for Jack Bycroft. Let's go for a quick update from the EBB and see what's going on with Aldershot Town. Rob.
Been given as it's still 1-0 to the Shots, but Kidderminster continue to knock on the Shots door. We're into the 80th minute now, but the second half has belonged to Kidderminster. Sadly for them, they don't have anything to show for it, but they're going to have another long throw, I beg your pardon, a corner now, Bryn, so I'll hand back to you. But 80th minute here, still slender lead for the Shots, 1-0.
Thanks very much there, Rob. In comes a free kick then, and Humphrey Ewers puts his right hand up and puts a right-footed free kick in. A big cross in, but it was won by the Woking player. Ince now takes the touch, gets it to Williams, who takes one more touch himself, turns around, looks the other way. He's got his teammate Akinola to the right-hand side, but the ball apparently has gone off, and the referee gives a throw-in, I think, to Oxford City.
That looked very close
close to the line, wasn't it? That's for sure. The full ball has got to go over the line, but anyway, the official here on the line has given it, and Roberts is going to wind up to take it. The ref blows his whistle, so I'm not sure why the ref decided to hold off play there, but anyway, it goes out again for a Woking throw right down deep inside their own half, off to our left-hand side. Woking shooting from left to right. We have got 10 minutes of normal time. I think we'll have a fair decent amount of time added on at the end of this one, though, Ian, because we will,
yeah,
good 4 minutes there with Jack Bycroft.
Well, we should.
Yeah. And Oxford City still threatening here off to our left-hand side. They turn back to Parker. I thought, no, it wasn't to Parker. It's still Zach McEachran who has it. He plays it to Humphrey Ewers, and it goes out for a Woking throw, and it's taken very, very quickly. And, well, Pavey took ages there. He could have picked up the ball. He decided to not take a touch. It's getting very physical here. The ball is off the field. And I'm not sure what's happening, but it's getting very, very scrappy between the Oxford City players and the Woking players. Ammond wants to take it, and it is a free kick there, a yellow card, to Mitchell Roberts from Oxford City. Scrappy, unnecessary. Ian, the ball was off the pitch, just trying to slow it all down, wasn't he?
Well, they always are, aren't they? But he was really grappling with Podrick Ammond. It wasn't a red, but it was certainly a strong yellow.
Bit unnecessary as well. The ball was off the field. It was a Woking throw, and essentially the Oxford City player, Roberts, was trying to prevent that throw from happening, and it wasn't going in the way that Ammond wanted, and it got a bit physical. The referee came over, books Roberts, and we're back underway again with another throw into Woking, and the sliding tackles are coming in. It's getting much more desperate from an Oxford City point of view, and McCuckran is now going to be booked. I think O'Parker's going to be booked now, in fact.
Yeah.
It's getting unnecessarily overly physical here. Sliding tackles going in left, right and centre, and this is when injuries start to happen, isn't it, Ian?
It is. Well, you've got tired players, you've got flying tackles, and you know, but one thing you can say about the Woking side, I don't think they will shirk any sort of physical challenge. You know, they're not a team.
Right.
In that sense, they're a team up for the physical challenge, because you've got to win that physical battle to get anything out of a game.
Oxford City sitting second from bottom in the National League. Woking 12th at the start of this one, trying to find their way, get some form back and work their way back towards the playoffs, the place they finished in last season, where the free kick comes in and straight into the arms of Jack Bycroft, who seems to have overcome his injury from earlier on and is moving very freely indeed as he rolls the ball out to the goal scorer, McEachran. Running forwards, no one getting anywhere near here at the moment. Ince just let him run straight past him as the ball's put to the right to Smith, and he's just running forward now deep into the Woking half. He puts the ball off to the right hand side, edge of the area, and Woking managed to clear it, but not cleared all that well. McEachran still has it. No, Ewers still has it. No, it is McEachran, sorry. Arguing with myself, McEachran has it on the far side, running rings around a few of the Woking players, but Ince finally gets his foot in, and it goes out for a Oxford City throw-in on the far side in line with the 18-yard box.
Yeah, Oxford that came forward well there, particularly with McEachran getting on the ball and really coming forward, ghosting past a couple of Woking players. One of the things with the pressing game is, as you're pressing the players, if they can, you know, get past you, it makes it look very easy, really, because you can't change direction. But
well, Woking are still chasing this one, trailing 2-1. They've got the ball back though, and they're looking up, but in the last few minutes, really, with the way Oxford City have gone about it, you know, putting the challenges in, slowing the game down, it's gone back towards Oxford City's favour, hasn't it? They lead 2-1, and Woking are struggling to find a way through once again.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, obviously game management, but you've had the injury to the keeper. You've had, you know, slowing down. Even yellow cards and tackles can be, you know, things that really just take the sting out of the game.
Well, Woking have it once again on the right-hand side. It's Akinola who plays the ball to Ammond, who rolls it back, and it's gone out of play. And Ammond, well, he shouts, doesn't he, at Moss, but it was actually a misplaced pass from Ammond.
I suspect he was shouting himself.
Yeah, actually. I think so, frustration, but they're trying a little bit too hard, and it seems at the moment Woking are just struggling to find a way through once again. The game management from Oxford City's point of view, as Ian was saying, has played it back into their own hands, and Woking just need to stay composed. There's still 6 minutes plus a fair bit of stoppage time. Well, there should be a fair bit of stoppage time at the end of this one, and still high. Mintz gets his head on it. Akinola sends it high once again. Let's go for another update between Dorking and Gateshead. What's been going on there?
Well, it's just got from bad to worse, I'm afraid, because Gateshead have scored their fifth with Chadwick grabbing a hat-trick. He has since gone off. Kyron Lofthouse could have grabbed a sixth, and now they are threatening again. This could be even more trouble, but Gateshead are winning 5-0 at the moment.
One of the Woking players. Well, we've got a player down here on the turf for Oxford City, and Casey's gone over once again to have a word with the referee, who's called over. I can't see who's called over. Can you see who it is there, Ian, who he's having a word with? Is it Williams?
Gregor Cox, is it?
Is it Gregor Cox? Yeah, oh yes, it's Gregor Cox, and he produced the yellow card, and Gregor Cox has now ended up in the book. It was a pretty innocuous challenge. I didn't even see what really caused it, but the player is down on the turf. That is Rennie Smith, who's down on the turf for Oxford City, the central midfielder, defensive-minded holding midfielder. Woking fans off to our right-hand side, still trying to make some noise, aren't they? But
they're travelling numbers is a good number, around the ground. And can I just say, while we've got this lull, the new sports format as a non-BBC employee, I have to say it's brilliant. It's really good. It really picks up the sort of excitement from all the games, doesn't it? Being able to go between the games, get the goals, get it all linked together. It just makes it a lot more.
Well, just hearing that Eastbourne Borough 3, Braintree 1 now, so great for them on the south coast. Keeping up on that one. But as you say, it's really nice to get these updates, live updates across the grounds, and see what's going on in the National League and the other divisions around this sort of Surrey and
and then you
Sussex
get the tension, don't you, as it approaches full time, and there's maybe a few goals go in or non-goals are try. I just think it's a lot more interactive and builds up the excitement, makes it a lot better of a football experience.
It certainly does. Well, a bit of a lull here at the moment, as Ian was saying. Rennie Smith is down on the, I was going to say grass, but it isn't grass. He's still being treated. Looks like he might be checking for concussion, actually. Let's go for a quick update and see what's going on with Aldershot Town. Rob.
Done, Kwame. Stevie's come on to good effect in recent games. Sometimes that's been with... And we've got a quick update for our radio listeners here. 2.5 minutes left here at the EBB Stadium. Nervous end to the game for Shotts. Kidderminster have been the better side in the second half, but they've not been able to beat Jordi van Stappershoef to this point. Just over 2 minutes left. Shotts 1, Kidderminster 0.
Thanks very much there, Rob. Well, in those moments that you didn't hear us, nothing has happened. We're still waiting for treatment for Rennie Smith, who's on the floor, and I can't quite see. It does look like they're looking at his head, aren't they? He's sitting upright. He's okay, but they are checking him out. I think actually maybe he got a cut to his head by the physio going to their bag. I think they're rubbing something onto his head right now. It's hard to see from this angle where we are. We're very, very close to the touchline on this artificial surface here in Oxford, but we've got some players around, crowding around, and Oxford City are now having a little kick around in the middle on their own, whilst the Woking players try and chivvy things along a little bit. Well, I'm just hearing that Farnborough have now equalised. Farnborough 1, Weymouth 1, and it was Ollie Pendlebury who scored the goal for Farnborough, so 1-1 in that one. We're still waiting, aren't we, for something? And it's that weird. It's this weird moment, this real lull, and I'm sure Smith is injured because the physio's looking at them. They don't take this long for no reason, obviously, but it's just taking the heat out of this match, isn't it? Really?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You get a real momentum going, and then you have two lengthy breaks, one for 4 minutes that we were hearing to the keeper, and this one I would have said is at least 5 so far. We could be looking at 12. 13 minutes, about
a half hour, wouldn't it? Is what we're going to have at the end of this one. I think there's going to be a substitution made from Oxford City. On the far side, I can see the board is being readied. So it looks like Rennie Smith might, in fact, be coming off. Just trying to glance up and see if I can get an early look at the board. Trying to work out if 15 is on it. And it is... I don't think it is, actually, is it? It looks like we've got Ollie Sanderson coming off. And Aaron Williams Bushell is coming on. So... well, that tells you that it looks like he's going to be okay then. So, Rennie Smith is up, walking around. We're also very close to a big speaker here, by the way, so that's why, if you're wondering why everything is so loud. Apparently another goal at Gateshead, Dorking. Let's find out what's happening there.
Oh, well, Dorking have been hit for 6 because Ryan Booty has scored the best of the lot. Precision strike from just outside the box beyond Mail. 6-0 for Gateshead against Dorking.
His teammates, thanks very much there. So not going well from a Dorking point of view at all. In comes a free kick. Ewers tosses this one in, but it's way too deep. It's going to run off for a goal kick. And
well, after all that,
huffing and puffing, and Smith wants to come back on. It was a long time he was sitting on the non-turf turf, and he's looking over at the ref. Ref says no, you can't come on just yet. He's been told he can't come on, so he's now running back down the pitch to assume his normal position. Rennie Smith, he's just trying to keep abreast of the defensive areas, but in come Woking, and it's Ince who sends the ball north, but it doesn't really go to any particular target. And now Cuthbert's chasing after this, and out comes Jaskalainen, who puts a head on it, and oh my word, it's come to Parker, and Parker slides it into the back of the net, and well, another mistake from from Woking have allowed Oxford City to get back into this one, really controlling it. and the ball came back. Jääskeläinen already headed the ball, and he headed it absolutely nowhere, and Parker managed to read it, got his foot to it, and just slotted it in from the edge of the area. And here we are in the 90th minute now, and it's Oxford City 3, Woking 1, and we can say this is a game that's only gone the way it's gone because Woking have handed the goals to Oxford City on a plate.
100%. I mean, that was yet another defensive mistake. It was a long ball through. Jääskeläinen, as he should, came out. Rather than head it up in the air or anything, he tried to head it sideways, and Parker got there first and just slotted it home, and that's the game, I think. I can't really see Woking. It's a pity because Woking was showing signs of really coming back into this, and it must be very disheartening. It's disheartening for the fans, certainly, but for the players as well. You know, players are human beings. No one goes out there to give away goals. No one goes out there not to win games. And but really, that has been a very, very, if it stays like this, a very, very disappointing afternoon.
Darren Sarll, the manager, will always come out. He'll always talk, and he'll always be as honest as he can be. You know, he won't tell you exactly what he's telling the players. I'm sure he'll give you a version of it. He'll try and read positives into this one, and it's going to be a bitter pill for him. After losing in the FA Cup and going out, they looked good a couple of games ago against Eastleigh. They weren't looking quite as good at home against Bromley. They were playing a very, very good team in Bromley, don't forget. Then they lost against Ramsgate in the FA Cup, and then it's this game here. You're expecting them to come back really and rebound and show what they're made of, and it's just gone to 3 errors from a Woking perspective, and that's allowed Oxford City in. Oxford City have only won 3 games this season, remember, sitting second from bottom in the National League. Well, a 4th victory for them. It won't get them out the bottom of, or the relegation places, I'm sure, but it will help their cause. Woking, though, need to get something. I'm waiting for the board on the far side. I'm not sure if we've seen it yet, have we, Ian, for time added on? I haven't seen it, but it's a Woking corner kick here on the left-hand side. It's going to be a left-footed outswinger, and it's Katie, the captain, who takes it. The header was won, but it goes out here on this near side, and Oxford City are able to clear it. And the overlapping run now, and it looks like, well, there was eyes on the man, not on the ball there from Moss, but they keep the ball, and that was the substitute that was taken down, Williams Bushell, but no free kick. And now, well, Williams having a bit of a moment with McEachran, but they do manage to pick each other up, and off we go again. Woking have it on the far side. It's still a tasty one. It's been getting quite physical this second half. A bit grumpy affair, I would say. And Darren Sarll is shouting orders. He's screaming for it to be played down to the left-hand side. In comes a right-footed cross in, but it's gone way too deep. It was aimed towards Alfie Pavey. He couldn't quite reach it, and it goes out for a goal kick. But he was a target. You'd like to see more from Alfie Pavey, wouldn't you, Ian? He's very tall. He's an imposing figure, but he just doesn't seem to put himself about as much.
No, he's more. I think he's more a classical player, if you can say that, rather than a physical number 9. He doesn't sort of, and you know, he is 29, but he is a number 9, but he's not the sort to sort of throw himself into people and what have you. But he's
in this sort of game,
the ball, but in this sort of game, you really need that physical impact.
Well, Aldershot still winning, Crawley still winning, Eastbourne Borough still winning. We'll give you 4 times as we get them from around the grounds. We're in the 95th minute here in Oxford. Oxford City leading 3-1 against Woking. That goal coming in the 90th minute from Parker. And, well, Oxford City not in a hurry to do anything right now. In fact, the referee's going to produce another card, and he gives it to Coyle for taking too long on the throw-in. Roberts is going to take it.
Yeah, 9 minutes of additional time.
9 minutes
told,
on the
and
board.
we're probably
we're 5 into it.
Nearly 5 into that, and there'll be
and a powerful shot just there by Zach McEachran, and Will Jääskeläinen managed to save it. He spilt it, but managed to grab it at a second attempt. We're hearing it's full time at the EBB. Let's find out what the score was. Rob.
Thank you very much, Bryn. The final whistle's gone, and the shots have hung on, and they definitely were hanging on. In truth, they did really well in the 5 minutes added time to show great game management. But it was Kidderminster's half. They tested out Aldershot 4 or 5 times. but the shots defence, which has been a little bit generous on a number of occasions this season, was mean on the afternoon. It's a rare clean sheet for Jordi van Stappershoef, and ultimately it's Josh Stokes' 23rd minute goal, his 10th of the season, that means the 3 points will stay in North East Hampshire. Final score at the EBB, Aldershot Town 1, Kidderminster Harriers 0.
Thanks very much there to Rob. So Aldershot winning 1-0 at home to Kidderminster Harriers. Woking desperate for something in this game here, but we've only got 4 minutes of time added on still to play. A long clearance there by the goalkeeper Will Jaskalainen, and Woking still have it. Pavey gets ahead in it that time. It's rolled back to Casey, who takes one touch and then is dispossessed. And here we go. Oxford City on the attack once again on the right-hand side. Parker looks like he's going to be the target, but that was well done by Casey. He lost the ball and he ran all the way back. A captain's performance just there, leading by example. But Woking playing the ball around a bit too much in their defensive areas. Rowan Ince playing it back to Casey. Casey up there. And I thought it was going to be a free kick given, but no, they're carrying on play, and Casey has it on the left-hand side. Taylor plays it forward, and now the ball sprayed across the field to the right-hand side, and it's well after it here. Williams has got the ball, he's taken one touch, and the sliding tackle comes in by Mitchell Roberts, who was on a yellow card, so he had to be careful, but he did a very, very good job, won the ball just there, and it goes out for a Woking throw-in. 97th minute here of this game. Oxford City 3, Woking 1. 9 minutes of time added on, plus any extra time on top of the extra time, and it's Moss who has it on the right-hand side. Williams back to Moss. Moss puts the cross in now and cleared away once again by Oxford City, and Taylor trying to win the header just there, but Parker getting to it first of all. Ball gets put back up in the air, and then Taylor tries to play it down to the right-hand side to Moss, but it was put a little bit in front of the player and goes out for a throw-in to Oxford City. All the industry that Woking have shown in the first half early doors, and since they scored that one goal, was nullified really with really strong game management from Oxford City. After a few moments they then scored, well, they scored right on the 90th minute in fact, didn't they, with Parker, and they lead 3-1, and ever since that moment it's been very, very, very cagey, very physical. Goes back to Will Jaskalainen. Let's hear the full-time score from Dorking.
A day to forget for Dorking. They've fallen to their heaviest defeat of the season. They've lost 6-0 against Gateshead. They were 3-0 down at half-time. They lost a further 3 goals after the break. Much soul-searching for Mark White. Dorking have lost 6-0 at Gateshead.
Season that
for him. Well, not a great result then for Dorking, unfortunately, but elsewhere we know that Aldershot have won. Here, though, Oxford City, the team in the relegation positions, are leading Woking by 3-1. It's been a very hard couple of months from a Woking point of view, not getting the results perhaps that they feel they deserve, losing by the odd goal here, the odd goal there. And today, well, they've conceded 3 goals, each and every one of them. You could be pointing to their own players for the reasons. Defensive lapses, mistakes made by the odd person here and there. And when they get the chances, ends up in the hands of Jack Bycroft, the goalkeeper for Oxford City, signed on loan from Southampton just the other day, making his Oxford City debut. Played for Aldershot Town earlier in the season, so he's been around the National League now for a few months, the Southampton player. 22-year-old, he sends a very high ball forward, and Cuthbert and Parker coming together once again, leaning on each other. Rowan Ince has it at his feet, and he's just trying to play it round now. And well, I thought he played it back and no one was around him, but Will Jaskalainen read that. He came out and sent it long with his left foot, and Rowan Ince takes a touch with his head back to his feet, and he puts it left, but it's going to be cut out, I think. No, it does reach his man. Williams has it on the right-hand side, plays it to Gregor Cox. Well, now it's Williams on the ball. They still have it, Woking, on the edge of the area, and Ince has it, takes one touch, takes a second touch, plays it to the right-hand side rather than taking a shot, and I think a shot was probably the better option. It now comes back to Cuthbert, who looks up, plays it left to Casey. Casey, one more player out to the left-hand side. Gregor Cox has it, drops his shoulder, plays it in now to Taylor, and they're just playing the ball around the edge of the area now, Woking. Rather than getting the shot off, it's come to Cuthbert on the edge of the area. He now plays it back to Casey on the left-hand side. He looks up, plays it onto the penalty spot. Ince was a target man, and it's ended up in the back of the net, and it's Ammond who scores it. almost from absolutely nothing. The 100th minute here. It is now Oxford City 3, Woking 2, and I don't think any of the Woking players thought that was actually a goal. They all looked very, very nervous at the linesman, but it went in, it stayed in, and it is Oxford City 3, Woking 2.
Yeah. It was a ball in, Hammond at the far post, running in. Everybody, I think, including ourselves, looked at the far post, and but really, there's really very little time. There we go.
And the referee blows the whistle here. The last kick almost was a ghosting run from Hammond at the back stick to score a second goal for him, a second goal for Woking. But unfortunately for them, 3 defensive lapses, 3 big mistakes. One by the goalkeeper, Will Jaskalainen. Well, 2 really for Jaskalainen, not clearing the ball in the first instance to give the goal to Oxford City when Zach Meakin managed to convert. And then the header that allowed Parker to make it 3-1 in the 90th minute. Well, Hammond has made it back to 3-2, but the final whistle has gone here at the Raw Charging Stadium, and it's gone the way of the side in the relegation positions. Ian Nicholson, your thoughts on what we've seen here today?
Well, if ever a game it's not just one shot in the foot, but 3 shots in the foot, really, that have given that game to Oxford City. You know, Woking struggled to get back into it. There's a debatable goal in the first half that was disallowed that looks as though it should have been permitted, but you can't look at that. I mean, the first half performance, 2 goals given away and then another one later on. Woking really stuck at their task, and the hard thing is you can look around at certain players and see they really gave their all, and you know, no more so than someone like Josh Casey, who I thought had a very good game, you know, and really. But you could see the experienced players really holding it together, but you could also see the frustration as the game went on, that how on earth are we losing this when, you know, with these mistakes. And it was just, by the end of the struggle, a very hard watch for Woking fans this afternoon. Disheartening, but a very hard watch more than anything.
I said at the very start of this game that it's a very tough place to be in football management, and for Darren Sarlt at the moment it must feel like a very lonely place for him, because the results haven't been going his way. Yeah, they got that win away at Ebbsfleet just a couple of games ago, 3 games ago in fact, in the National League. But when you're there in the dugout and you're barking your orders, you've set your team out, how can you even plan for these sorts of mistakes? I can see that he's there, he's trying to do his best, isn't he? And he's trying to remain positive, but what can he do at the moment?
You can't. The thing about, I've noticed over years with managers and the stress build up and the way they work at things is that, you know, once the match begins, you're out of control. You're out of control of a goal that's disallowed. You're out of control for your own players' mistakes. You're just out of control.
Yeah.
But you have to do your bit, but you then are held responsible for what's happened out on the pitch, and rightly so, because you're the manager. But that's why it's such a difficult job.
Well, I'm just watching Darren Sarlt at the moment, because he's gone round, he's applauding all the fans. He's also going round and just giving a big hug.
Oh, I think we've lost the line. It held on for 104 minutes. Woking away at Oxford City. I think the fans gave up the ghost and the line gave up the ghost. A massive thank you to our commentary team there, Bryn, Lucas and to Ian Nicholson, who, of course, took over there after Dorking were being hammered. They lost 6-0 Dorking, 3-1 defeat, 3-2 defeat for Woking, but massive win for Aldershot. Into League 2, Crawley. Big win for them at home. Gary Smith.
Yeah, Tim, the players are just taking the applause of the fans as they make their way around the stadium. We had 9.5 minutes of stoppage time here as well, but Accrington couldn't get themselves back in the game, and Crawley hold on for their first victory since September the 30th with a 3-1 victory. All square at the break. Nolan put the visitors ahead inside 90 seconds. Crawley back on level terms after 7 minutes with a goal by Danilo Orsi, 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and he slotted it home very, very comfortably. Crawley ahead after just 3 minutes of the second half with an absolute blockbuster from Will Wright, fully 30 yards out, right-footed. Goalkeeper got a finger on it but couldn't keep it out. But then the moment that changed the whole game really, after 76 minutes, as you heard live on the radio, Brad Hills red-carded for Accrington Stanley for a foul on Danilo Orsi. He picked himself up and from 12 yards was able to just send the goalkeeper the wrong way, straight down the middle into the back of the net, and that was the goal that gives Crawley 3 goals and 3 points here this afternoon, Tim. They gallop up the table into 11th place, just 3 points still away from the playoffs. in a very, very tight top half of the table. 2,887 people here to see it. The majority of them going home very, very happy, because under the lights here in Sussex, Tim, it finishes Crawley Town 3, Accrington Stanley 1.
Great atmosphere, reaction to come, and no doubt Gary off to practice some more horse puns. We'll have reaction with Scott Lindsay and a player between now and 6 o'clock. Live reaction as we get it from our featured games. One man's been hanging on very, very much, but why not? Because it's another Sussex win. Eastbourne Borough. Boy, they needed that towards the bottom of National South. Kevin Anderson.
Yeah, they've gone up to the dizzy heights of 17th, I gather, Tim. 3-1 to Eastbourne Borough against Braintree Town. They were 2-1 up at half-time, under siege for a good half hour from Braintree, then broke away and scored through Leon Gravata to make it safe. And they've not just claimed the points, but they've claimed the day, Tim. It started with a bright, beautiful, pin-sharp blue sky over this ground. It's finished with a dark navy blue, but there's no darkness about the mood. The floodlights are shining out, and we've got lots and lots of memories all flooding back to what you might call Lens Lane. Well, I've got with me, Tim, the man to whom the baton has been passed. Simon Leslie, how do you feel?
I feel good. I'm really pleased for the fans. They've had to endure a couple of too many defeats, but today it was great to see them get what they deserve.
And there is a huge legacy, isn't there, with this club? And I know, Simon, from chatting to you, that you're a proud man to be able to not just start completely anew, but to take that legacy forward.
I know. I think Len was definitely looking down on us today, and I said to him before he passed that I would take this to pastures new, and that's our goal and our ambition. And today, I think, is the start of that.
Thank you very much, Simon Leslie, the owner of Eastbourne Borough Football Club, and all the memories flood back of those past years. The young lads today out on the pitch weren't even born, well, probably their dads weren't even born, some of them, when Len and his mates started this project. They didn't really know where it would lead, but this is where it's led to, the model of a community football club. And as Simon Leslie says, it's now his opportunity to carry the flag forward.
Kevin, lovely tribute from him and from the owner, Simon Leslie. A very good evening. The Armistice Day, injuries, stoppages, all sorts of things have taken us extremely late. It is 5:10. Coming up in 5 minutes' time, we'll round up all the sporting stories of the day with Cameron Anderson-Jones in the Premier League and the other sports for you. But at 5:10, we're a little bit late.
BBC Radio Surrey. All the reaction from the big match. This is the final whistle.
Yes, a very good evening. In League Two, Crawley come from a goal down to get their first win since September the 30th. They beat Accrington Stanley by 3-1, as they fed the horse, Danilo Orsi, with 2 goals this afternoon. Those goals to come in 5 minutes' time. In the National League, they're still on fire from the FA Cup. Aldershot win to move to 6th. Josh Stokes with yet another goal in his prolific season on 23 minutes. Sutton United, though, still rock bottom of League Two after their result today. They are 3 points adrift of safety. In the National League, defeat for Woking, 3-2 away to Oxford City. A thrashing for Dorking Wanderers, 6-0 at Gateshead. In National South, no match for Worthing. They slipped to 7th. That game was postponed. A good win, as we've been hearing, from Eastbourne Borough by 3-1. They move up to 17th in National League South. As for Farnborough Town, I think they get a draw. They are 9th tonight. I'll confirm that for you in a moment's time. We'll round up all the Premier League stories for you as Arsenal win, but it wasn't easy. And we'll round up the rest of the other sporting stories to come with Cameron.
BBC Radio Surrey.
No emotional, that is Whitney Houston. The emotions tonight, a reminder then, big wins for our local sides, for Crawley, for Aldershot, for Eastbourne Borough. Reaction from all 3 games for our winners between now and 6 o'clock. I ran up all the Isthmian Premier League scores for you, Isthmian South East. to confirm it was a 1-1 draw for Farnborough in National South. We'll confirm their positions, the tables, get reaction from Kevin at Priory Lane, and we'll start previewing the Albion's big game tomorrow afternoon. We go live, if you're a Sussex listener, from 1:30. Full live commentary with Adrian in the studio and Johnny and Warren at the Amex. Huge game. A cup final, says De Zerbi. We'll hear him say that in the next half hour. They are at home to Sheffield United. Talking over the Premier League and the other sporting stories of today, it's that time. It's 5:16. Here's Cameron.
Thank you very much, Tim. Let's start with our local football then. Crawley Town came from behind to beat Accrington Stanley 3-1, and this was the goal that sealed all 3 points.
This could be the goal. Orsi smashes it down the middle, and he has his second of the afternoon, and Crawley have a third. And is that the goal that wraps up the points for Crawley here this afternoon and gives them a first league win since September the 30th? Feed the horse is what they say whenever he scores. Crawley could be winning this one at a canter now this afternoon. It is Crawley Town 3, Accrington Stanley 1.
Feed the horse is what they say. Danilo Orsi getting the third goal in that match and wrapping up the win for Crawley Town. In the National League, Aldershot Town backed up last weekend's result as they beat Kidderminster 1-0.
Stokes in a battle here on the edge of the area. Can he get it back onto his favoured right foot? He can. Can he get shot in? Yes, he can. And there is goal number 10 of the season for the Shots teenager, Josh Stokes, arms out wide in front of the North stand on this occasion. And the Shots take the lead here at the EBB. Lovely control, calm and composed finish. No trouble at all. And with Aldershot Town's fourth chance of the day, every single one of them involving Josh Stokes. Stokes gives them the lead. Shots 1, Kidderminster 0.
It was a day to forget for their rivals Woking as the Cards lost 3-2 to Oxford City.
Cuthbert's chasing after this now. Out comes Jaskalainen, who puts her head on it, and oh my word, it's come to Parker, and Parker slides it into the back of the net, and well, another mistake from from Woking have allowed Oxford City to get back into this one.
Pressure begins to mount on manager Darren Saul as Woking are now winless in their last 4 matches and sit 14th at the moment. Dorking Wanderers have a long trip home as they lost 6-0 to Gateshead and slipped down to 17th in the National League. In the Premier League though, turn off now if you don't want to hear the scores because I know that Match of the Day is on later. But here we go then. Wolves scored 2 goals in stoppage time as they came from behind to beat Tottenham 2-1 at Molineux. It means that Ange Postecoglou's side have now lost back-to-back games in the league. Full time in the 3 p.m. kickoffs, and it was Manchester United who beat Luton Town 1-0 at Old Trafford, and it was defender Victor Lindelof who scored the goal as Erik ten Hag's side slowly start to climb the Premier League table. Arsenal have added another 3 points to their tally as they beat Burnley 3-1. The visitors did respond on the 54th minute, but William Saliba put the Gunners back ahead under 5 minutes after. Alexander Zinchenko secured the victory, and Arsenal are now level on points with Manchester City, who play Chelsea tomorrow. Elsewhere, the game was level between Everton and Crystal Palace, but someone had to win it, and it was the Toffees and Idrissa Gana Gueye who won the match in the 86th minute for the Merseyside-based team. Later this evening, though, Newcastle United travel to Bournemouth in the Premier League, and manager Eddie Howe has been talking about the difficulties he currently has in the squad.
Injuries, suspensions combined, I think the big thing is I back the players, back our squad, but I think that probably the biggest challenge is in-game running. Probably my options are restricted. I think that's probably the biggest effect on our situation at the moment.
That match is due to get underway in just 10 minutes time, a 5:30 kickoff in that one. And a reminder that if you're waiting for Brighton and Hove Albion, they don't play until tomorrow, but we'll have live build-up on that match on BBC Radio Surrey tomorrow with kickoff at 1:30. England and their cricketers ended the World Cup campaign with a 93-run win over Pakistan today, and the victory also saw them qualify for the 2025 Champions Trophy. David Willey, who played his final game for England before retiring, took 3 wickets for 56 runs and was named man of the match. And afterwards, Willey spoke to Mike Orferton.
David, congratulations. It's not quite the perfect ending because I'm assuming you would have liked to stood here with the World Cup winners' medal, but with runs, wickets and a Player of the Match award in your last England appearance, a good ending for you.
Yeah, look, obviously the tournament hasn't gone to plan for us as a whole, which is disappointment, and it would have been nice to have gone out on a real high. But for me personally, to have performed and been able to enjoy my last few games and get to 100 wickets is special for me.
Yes, I was going to ask that 100 ODI wickets. That just puts the gloss on it at the end.
Yeah, absolutely, a nice way to finish. It would have been nice to have had that and making a final as well. But small wins.
Tennis now, and Jack Draper lost in 3 sets today, 7-6, 2-6, 6-3 to Adrian Mariano in the final of the Sofia Open in Bulgaria. That was Draper's first ever ATP Tour final. Elsewhere, former world number 1 and Surrey resident Andy Murray and his coach Ivan Lendl have ended their partnership. Finally, in basketball, Surrey Scorchers are now underway in their match with Bristol Flyers as they look to bounce back after Thursday's loss, and just a few moments ago they were leading 17-16 at the start of the match. That's all from me with your sporting roundup.
BBC Radio Surrey. Call 0800 587 1046. BBC Radio Surrey.
Yes, that is the Rolling Stones. Never heard of them? Oh, a new band. Yeah, the Rolling Stones there. Great stuff. Mess it up. Good afternoon. This is Tim Durrans with Saturday Sport, your service where we get reaction from all our featured games. A brilliant win for Aldershot Town tonight by 1-0. We're going to hear from Tommy Widgerton now, the Aldershot manager. A reminder, brilliant win in the FA Cup. This win has taken them 6th in the National League, a side who for 6 seasons perennially struggling against relegation, but who knows? Tommy's with Rob Worrell.
Tommy, let's continue where we left off last week. There are many ways to win a game of football, and that's something you've wanted to do here all season at the EBB, win a game 1-0. It was a little bit gritty in the second half, but what's your take on today's result?
Exactly that. I think it would have been nigh on impossible to have reached the heights we did last weekend with the clinical finishing, the excellent choices in all departments of the pitch. But I felt the first half performance today was very, very good, and we should have probably been 3 or 4-0 up had we made the right choice at the last pass or just the execution of the finish. But in fairness to Dibble, he's made some great saves and kept them in the game. So in fairness to Russ, he changed and they came out as a different team in the second half, and they took us on in the game of football. And as you can see, the pitch isn't in the greatest of states at the minute because there's been a lot of action on it lately. It's nothing to do with the ground staff or anything like that. It's just been really heavy on the days that there's been games because there's been a lot of rainfall. So listen, at the end of the day, winning 7-4 away from home is excellent. Winning 1-0 at home on today of all days, we needed to show some passion, some great determination to give Geordie and us a clean sheet. And I thought, to a man, they rolled their sleeves up, like I said, and represented the town on this day fantastically well to win 1-0.
Your young forward Josh Stokes involved in everything that was good in the Open in half an hour, whether he was creating it or taking it. Ultimately he scored the goal, but I'm sure Josh himself would want to pay tribute to those behind him today. A valuable home clean sheet for Jordi van Stappershoff and the rest of the team for the first time at the EBB this season.
Yeah, and because we only scored 1 goal, it was imperative that was the case. So to take the 3 points, we needed a clean sheet today. I've said this so many times that I genuinely believe we could score a goal in every half of football we played. It's the first time we've not scored in front of the North Bank at a game this season, I believe. So from that point of view, I'm delighted because I joke with the lads about they can't keep a clean sheet, but I know we can, and the fact they've done it there against a team who really asked questions in the second half. In fairness to Kitty, so. Yeah, listen, I'm telling you now, I'm as delighted with that result as I was with last week's result.
And what about the attendance? 2,849, of which almost 2,700 were Aldershot. That must leave you bursting with pride today.
Absolutely, and I think that the ceremony before the game, to remember the fallen, was impeccably respected by both sets of fans. So credit to all of them, almost 3,000 people, and the people who took part in it. The armed forces put on an unbelievable show and had a tear in my eye. But it's I'm a big believer, and we shouldn't, lest we forget, we were only here because of the sacrifices people did make. And one of my opening salvos when I joined the club was to say, when we were in a troubling place in the league, that we represent the town that the British Army came out to go to war to. So whilst it wasn't a war, it's a football match. We had to stand tough and hold our line and repel everything that came to us. And Jody didn't really have to make a lot of saves, but the defenders put their bodies in front of the ball, whether it was their heads, their feet, or just their body in general. And I thought, like I said, we've deserved to win the game, even on my first half performance.
Tommy Winterton there, the Aldershot Town manager, speaking with Rob. Thank you very much indeed. Trying to get a bit of player reaction for you from Aldershot before 6 o'clock tonight. So the Shots winning this afternoon by 1-0. And it takes them up to 6th in the table. So Chesterfield top 47, Barnet 42, Bromley 36, Solihull 34, Altrincham 32, Aldershot 30, Gateshead, who thrashed Dorking 6-0. Move into the top 7 on 29, and it's FC Halifax who are now outside in 8th on 28. Eastbourne Borough reaction to come in a moment's time as well.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Well, we're getting lots of reaction from all our featured games. Not surprisingly, we're getting the winners in first. We've heard from Aldershot Town, Eastbourne Borough in a second. My producer, therefore, is extremely busy, so busy turning audio around that he's had time to find out that it is National Timothy Day. I haven't been called Timothy Cameron since my delightful father passed away a while ago. But yes, to some I'm Timothy, to most I'm Tim. Good evening. Enough about me. Eastbourne Borough needed a win. They started in real trouble towards the foot of the table in National South. They did win. Surely it's a happier mark being now 3-1 winners. Goals from Billy Vigar, the Arsenal loanee, the teenager, another teenager, and a local boy, Fletcher Holman, and Leo Gravate, who the previous manager, Danny Bloor, raved about, didn't he? It was one of his real prizes, a score with 10 minutes to play. A 3-1 win then. They beat Braintree Town at Priory Lane. Kevin's been speaking with Mark Beard.
Hey, Mark Beard, you're a happy man tonight.
Yes, very happy. Fantastic performance from the boys, and they've literally given everything. And there was players we had modified, like Michael was only supposed to play 60. Callum was supposed to play 45. Michael, yeah. And Jules Brown, who's come in from... Jules signed him from Haywards Heath, but he had to play again today because of injury. So he run me last night and said his ankle's swollen. He come and did a fitness test, failed the fitness test, and then went and played 90 minutes. So I asked him to just try to warm up, and that adrenaline got him through the game. So for Michael and Jules, outstanding defensive display, as well as Dan Quick and Archie as the two fullbacks. But all round, they just give absolutely everything. And I said to them before the game, to win this, because they're a very good team, Braintree, to win this game, you have to be crawling off the pitch, and that's what they've done.
So what's the mood in the dressing room after that then?
It's buzzing, because we've had like a few, obviously, poor results, and the young kids, I keep saying this, but the difference with Michael coming back in, Jules Brown is 24, 25, Callum Keedy, them three experienced players, which I keep saying all the time, makes such a difference. And you can see the young players excel around them, and they like lead by example in three, like chasing everything. Callum Keedy, Michael and George throwing their bodies on the line, everything, and that rubs off on all the youngsters around them. And that's why I'm saying, like, we've really missed these experienced players, but today they was all outstanding.
And you can go on from here.
Yes, that's what I said. This game's gone now. We can't like just reflect on this and say, oh, brilliant, that's it, we've got to win, because I want to win Tuesday now. Tonbridge, another good passing football team. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game again. We've got to see who's going to be fit. We're going to patch them up, and then we'll go again.
Relentless, isn't it, this time of year? So a good win for Eastbourne Borough. So they move up to 17th. They are 3 points clear of Truro City, who are in the first relegation place this evening. Farnborough Town came from behind to get a 1-1 draw in their home game with Weymouth. Ollie Pendlebury getting them back in that game. That takes them, or keeps them 9th, and that keeps them 1 point adrift of the top 7. Worthing's game postponed today. They were meant to be away at the seaside on the west coast against Weston-super-Mare. That was called off, so they drop out of the top 7, but have 2 games in hand. They are goal difference below Chelmsford City. Well, we've been warning you all day, Premier League-wise. If you want to watch Match of the Day and don't want the scores, I'm going to quickly reprise what happened, what's happening, and we're going to preview the Albion. So, earlier today, possibly Match of the Day will be the lunchtime kickoff. Spurs looking to stay top, go top, be top tonight. Well, they led going into stoppage time. 2 quick goals from Wolves. Wolves won 2-1. So real problems for injury-hit Spurs. Arsenal, their London rivals, winning to go level on points with Manchester City. Both have 27 points. Man City on top on goal difference. Arsenal beating Burnley 3-1 in that one. Everton, dramatic win. They're really trying to find form, aren't they? But held by the Albion last week. They won 3-2 at Palace. Manchester United winning 1-0, Lindelof goal, but 3 points are 3 points, I guess, for them. And underway now at Bournemouth, AFC Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 0. But a huge game tomorrow, lunchtime. 1:30 start, 2:30 kick-off. Adrian Harms will present our coverage. Johnny and Warren down at the Amex as Brighton and Hove Albion, fresh from a brilliant win on the continent, in the Netherlands at Ajax by 2-0. They're sitting pretty in that group, but haven't won for some time in the Premier League. Bournemouth was their last win. I think that was September, wasn't it? Around about the time of the start of their Europa League campaign. They play Sheffield United, the bottom side, tomorrow. Sheffield United did win last week, to be fair, and of course Brighton lost 3 players, including their skipper, through injury in the Netherlands on Thursday. So, a lot to think about for Roberto De Zerbi. He spoke to Ashley, Adamson Edwards and the rest of the press yesterday ahead of the Sheffield United game.
I think it's one of the most important games in this season. I think it's like a final for us because it will be a very tough game, tougher than yesterday. We know very well. Sheffield is a good team. They won last week, the first game, I think. To win the game, we have to play very well, a great game with tight quality, with tight attitude, and we need our fans. I never asked nothing for our fans, but Sunday we need their support to win the game. And if we win Sunday, I think we can reach a different level, but not on the table, on the mentality. And for it, we have to prepare our best the game, like a final. Because when you are not used to competing in Europe League, can stay with the head in Amsterdam Arena. And Amsterdam Arena is finished, is already finished. And the focus now is to go on Sheffield. In Premier League, we have to win because the last victory is against Bournemouth, and we want to keep the level of the table in Premier League as well.
There was another clean sheet for your side in the Europa League last night. There's yet to be one in the Premier League so far. Is that an important part of Sunday as well, getting that clean sheet?
Yes, because clean sheet and defensive space is a very important part of football. But we have to analyze better, I think, because we could make clean sheet a lot of time this season. Luton, Newcastle, Wolverhampton, Fulham, because with Fulham we conceded 3 shots from 25 meters in 90 minutes, and Fulham is a good team.
Roberto De Zerbi there. Don't forget, our coverage starts 1:30. If you're a Sussex listener tomorrow, Adrian Harms in the chair, Johnny and Warren at the ground, full commentary at 2. Woking reaction to come. Defeat for them today, I'm afraid. Defeat for Dorking as well. We're trying to get some reaction from there, but Mark White, a little bit not too talkative today. 6-0 they lost. Woking beaten 3-2. Big win for Aldershot. We've heard from their manager who might be able to squeeze in a bit of their goalkeeper before 6. But the big win in League 2 today. Crawley Town coming from behind. First win since September, beating Accrington Stanley 3-1. 2 goals for Danilo Orsi, and Scott Lindsay, the Crawley boss, has been speaking to Gary Smith.
Scott, congratulations on the win. You've talked about the poor start that the side made today and conceding that goal early on, but how important was it for you that your side got back into it very, very quickly?
Yeah, it was important. You know, I always feel that, I always feel we're going to score. I think there's not been very many games when we haven't. So I always feel that we're going to score. It's just about how resilient we can be at the back is the important factor, which I felt, taking away the 90 seconds at the start. I felt after that we were a little open in the first half, but I thought that we looked really solid in the second, so I'm pleased with that.
We've already talked about some of the challenges that went on throughout the course of the game. It was quite a physical afternoon, like you were saying, right from the word go, and they did get a red card that led to the third goal. I think I'm right in saying it's your first penalty in open play so far this season for Orsi to take to get his second goal of the afternoon. Is he always your nominated penalty taker if he's on the field?
I think Gladwin would probably normally take him. But I think if you look at the action, I think Gladwin went over and spoke to Horsey, and I think with the fact that Horsey had won the penalty, maybe Horsey wanted to take it. He obviously slotted it away, so maybe it's down to them to sort out from now on. I don't get too involved in kind of who's taking what in terms of penalties. I'm not big on that. I think the players are big enough and ugly enough to kind of sort that out, and tucked it away, so no problems there. But yeah, it's not the first penalty we've had, is it? Second, Dom Telford missed a penalty, didn't he, against, was it Gillingham?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's the second penalty we've had, yeah. So listen, we actually said yesterday, me and the coaching staff were talking about it, I said we're due a penalty. We actually mentioned that yesterday, so I ain't seen it back, so I don't know whether it was or not. I've got no idea. But listen, he took it away, so that's the main thing.
And we quite often talk about resilience from your side, and again, coming from behind today to win the 3 points relatively comfortably at the end of the day was another great sign of the resilience within the squad.
The players really had the bit between their teeth today. It was a hard game, let me tell you. They're a good side. They're a tough side, and they stop you from playing, and they block you up and press you quite hard and fast and high up the pitch and nullify space. So we found it hard in that first half. I didn't like the first half at all, but I felt that we did the right things to win the game in the second half for sure.
Horsey and Will Wright will no doubt get the plaudits, like has been mentioned, for getting the goals this afternoon. But I just want to take your mind back to a little moment in the second half where Liam Kelly, deep in his own half, in the left-back position for your side, won the ball back, physically sort of nudged the Accrington player who was probably about twice the size of Liam Kelly, and it drew as much applause from the West End as if another goal had gone in. It was a tremendous display of defending.
Liam Kelly's probably one of our strongest defenders, actually. People probably don't give him credit for that because he has a lot of the ball in the middle of the pitch and passes it lovely, every time he gets it, and he's a good footballer. And people don't realise what a good defender he is. He's aggressive, he covers the grass well, he makes tackles, he'll get back in, he'll block runners, he'll do a lot of kind of unnoticed stuff as well that people don't probably see, following his runner in the box when everybody else's eyes are on the football. He does a lot of work that kind of makes him a really good defender. So no, I remember the action and he did great on it, but it wasn't a surprise to me.
If we look ahead then, Scott, it's Barrow away next week. It's a long way for any side to go, particularly coming from around here in Sussex. Does having a free week in terms of not having a game in midweek, is that important to you this week?
Yeah, definitely. We can first of all recover from what's been a tough game today, debrief, which is important. We always debrief the games and watch it back, and then start preparing for a tough away game at Barrow next Saturday. So no, it is important, and we can get some much needed work on the training ground done. We can do look at different aspects of how I see next week, and yeah, it is important. I really like clear weeks. I sometimes feel that the Tuesday night games are really hard to kind of turn around. I know it's part of the game, and I know we've got to do it, but I do enjoy a clear week.
And for you as the manager, what sort of shape is the squad in at the moment, at this stage of the season? Obviously, Gladwin's come back from injury in the last couple of weeks. Campbell started to come back from injury. Harry Ransom maybe still a couple of weeks away. But for you, what sort of shape is the squad in?
Yeah, good. I think we probably, from my point of view, I think come January I'll probably, want a little bit more. I don't think necessarily I'm being greedy. I just think that we probably need to be a little bit thicker in certain positions. But now I'm pleased with the squad. I think the lads have done extremely well. We're in a healthy position. We've had, is that the 16th game today? Is it?
Yes.
16th game, and we're 11th in the division. So now we're pleased. We're really pleased with what we've achieved so far. But we're now kind of coming into some really tough fixtures. So we've got to continue with the work that we're doing.
Well done, Crawley. If you're a fan travelling home, enjoy your evening. You should do. Crawley, as he says, up to 11th, 24 points. So now back to within 3 points of the playoffs. So a bit of a barren spell of that big win today. So they're still in the mix, aren't they? Well clear of trouble at the bottom, where I'm afraid Surrey-based side Sutton United are in trouble. 10 points, 3 adrift of safety, with Forest Green just above them. Woking reaction now, 3-2 defeat away at Oxford City. They were 2-0 down, got a goal back, 3-1 down. Armand got his second. Then they lost 3-2. Let's hear from Darren Sarles speaking with Bryn Lucas.
Well, Darren, we'll go into some specifics, I suppose, in just a few moments. First of all, your overriding thoughts on what happened out there today.
Well, I mean, anyone in attendance will have witnessed, 3 of the poorest goals that my team has ever conceded, and I don't exclude that to the other clubs that I've previously managed. And when you give away 3 goals in any game, whether they're good goals, bad goals, mistakes, really good play by the opponent, to score 4, it's always very, very tough. So that straight away gives us that problem, and then you have to try and fight tooth and nail. And we'd actually got ourselves back into it, and that was a disappointing thing.
At 1-0, scored a goal. It's chalked off immediately for offside. What are your thoughts? I've seen it, I'm not so sure.
Well, if you'll know better than me, because I've not seen the thing, and obviously it's at the opposite end from even where the dugout is, where the away dugout is. So our view is we were a little bit perplexed, but we're perplexed because we can't see the angle. If the goal should have stood, then that's more evidence for John and I to send through to the PGMOL and show them how they might have cost us points.
Have you spoken to Reece about it, about what his thoughts were? Because he was in prime position, of course, to be able to tell you.
No, I've not spoken to Reece about it.
Fair enough. Now, we touched upon the mistakes, and they were 3, turned out to be cataclysmic mistakes when it comes down to the way the game went. For Jaskalainen's point of view, the first one, the ball played back to him by Taylor, left him in no man's land. The second mistake from Will. What do you do with the players when they're making these mistakes? Because every loss, the pressure goes up. How do you take the pressure off these players?
But that's elite sport. Elite sport is pressure. The reason why you have some, I'm sure we've all got a recollection of some really talented individuals that have not made it at the level we probably have thought they could have. And it is that next level of what's between your ears. And that is what elite sport is. And once you get in that, yes, absolutely, it's very, very difficult to fathom some sort of turn in their form. But it is only one good moment away for any sportsman, whatever sport you do. And they've got to keep believing in that. They've got to keep believing in that next moment. That next moment will come, because a win is always round the corner. Always round the corner in a really good performance. Our season has been dictated by games like today, where you have 4, maybe 5 good performances, and you have 5 bad performances or players out of form. And some of them have had to ride that form and ride that pressure, because there hasn't been any cavalry in their position for us to relieve them of that. And it just makes it, they have to get through it. And there's no hiding place for any athlete or sportsman. Unless you enjoy that pressure, unless you enjoy that suffocation of what it feels like, you can't reach the levels that you maybe could have.
The Woking boss, Darren Sarles, there speaking with Bryn Lucas. Disappointment for Woking, who, as I mentioned, dropped to 15th now in the table. They are 7 points adrift of the playoffs, where, of course, they reached last season. Great to hear from Coldplay. Upload is up next. That's at 6 o'clock. A reminder, also, then after that, it is BBC Introducing. So your chance to get your stuff on BBC Local Radio. Art, poetry, and then music. That's all coming up. But let's quickly get some more reaction. Aldershot Town, big 1-0 win at home at the Rec today. The Aldershot keeper has been speaking to Rob Worrell.
Jordi van Stappershoef, I'm speaking to you at the EBB Stadium, and you're in the proud possession of a clean sheet. You've had to wait a while for it here. It's been coming, hasn't it? How does it feel?
Very good, very good. Very happy, delighted with the clean sheet. I think this is my first clean sheet at home. But yeah, credits to everyone, especially the defenders. Defended well, and so yeah, really happy with the clean sheet.
Yeah, I mean, it was a strong collective team performance and much more on the front foot in the first half and more resilient in the second. But I remember a couple of saves from yourself, probably most notably the strike from Ben Tollett, which definitely had some swerve on it, didn't it?
Yeah. This is like a knuckleball. And the same one that I caught, I think 10 minutes after that, down and low. People don't really see that coming, but it's really difficult to stay calm and to catch that ball. But luckily I did, yeah.
Now, you started to become a little bit of a fan's favourite over recent weeks, and you had that magnificent moment at Swindon last week in front of 1,300 fans. And I saw you do it again at the East Bank, so you're going to have to keep doing this after every win now, Jordi.
Yes, of course. I mean, the support is great, and I love to do that and celebrate with the fans because they deserve it as well.
It was also a good day for the keeper for Crawley. Luca Ashby-Hammond has been speaking to Gary Smith after their 3-1 home win over Accrington.
Luca, congratulations on your league debut this afternoon and the 3 points for the side. Scott's already said to us that he didn't overly enjoy the game for one reason or another today. It was a very physical game looking on from the sides. For yourself, playing for the 90 minutes, how did you find it?
I enjoyed every minute of it, to be honest. You know, when it's rewarding when they score early and then we keep them at bay. You know, they threw some corners in, they like to put the ball in the box. We dealt with that. So it's rewarding for me as a goalkeeper to not allow them to continue to then be successful in that. They scored early, but then they didn't score again. So I think we were, as a defensive unit, we were resilient. So I think that was pleasing in the game.
The ethos in the squad is that the side are always going to play the same way, whether you're playing in goal or Corey's playing in goal or whoever's playing at the back in midfield or up front. That's obviously demonstrating a real good strength and depth in the squad these days.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, in all the games we show a style of play, we show an ethos and how we play, and the standard. You know, we usually play well in games. Today required a different approach, which we managed mid-game. So I think, you know, each player is more than capable of playing the way we play. So, and you can see that on the pitch.
Luca Ashby-Hammond, good win for Crawley in League 2. They're up to 11th. Aldershot Town up to 6th in the National League with a 1-0 win over Kidderminster Harriers. Woking beaten at Oxford. They dropped to 13th. Dorking dropped to 17th, thrashed at Gateshead 6-0. Eastbourne Borough 17th after a home win for them in National South. Farnborough 9th after a 1-1 draw with Weymouth. Full live commentary on Brighton and Hove Albion tomorrow afternoon, 1:30 if you're a Sussex listener, with Adrian Harms, Johnny and Warren. Full live commentary from the stadium. Upload is next, then it's BBC Introducing. Have a wonderful Saturday evening. Thanks to Cameron. Good night.